What is happening, guys? It's Pass the Gravy bonus episode. This is episode 346, and we got another special guest in these quarantine Monday episodes I'm doing. It's Dusti Rhodes, one of my favorite local comedians. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I hope it wasn't too weird with the finger pistols. It always feels.
No, I liked it. I was like, do I look awkward? Am I a good pistol finger person?
I like fistles though. Fistles like finger pistol. It makes more sense. I'm gonna start calling them fistles from now on.
Fistles, yeah. It kind of goes. Fistles could be weird too.
That does sound, yeah. There could be an area of the internet that's probably already a category, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like you are. I've been wanting to have you on for a long time. Your buddy Patrick McClellan. He's a friend of the podcast, and I was telling him last time, like, yo, can you hook me up with Dusti and maybe get her on? Just email her. Just email her, dude.
Yeah.
All right. I did that. We had tried to work something out earlier, and just you have a very busy schedule. I mean, you're teaching, you're doing comedy, and you're making clothes all the time now. Is that what I'm saying?
It's a pretty busy schedule, yeah.
So you've always, it looks like you've always kind of like made your own dresses. I mean, I kind of stalk you on social media, I guess, but then like you've done the face masks lately, huh?
Yeah, like I said, it's funny because I saved all the fabric from those dresses. Like the dresses I probably made like a couple of years ago, but I just didn't throw the fabric away. And then I was just like, I'm like, oh, perfect. I can use it now. So it's great.
That's pretty tight. Have you always made your own clothes, or did you just decide one day like this is my thing?
It was like 10 years ago when I was teaching, I started making skirts. So it was just like easy, like my outfit to just like my uniform for school, if you will. Like I didn't have to think about it. Like I put on a blouse, the skirts I made, and then I was done.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, and it was skirts at first. And then I just like gradually got braver about what I would try and what I believed I could do. And so, yeah. But it was really just because like, I couldn't find what I wanted to wear. Like I found a dress and I was like, I like this dress. I want this dress just lots of different ways. And so I just learned how to make it myself.
That's pretty cool. How long does it take to like I don't know anything about that world. Like how long does it take to make a dress from like start to finish?
A dress takes me about 5 or 6 hours. Like effectively if I'm making it like over time, or like a lot of times like I just make a dress in one sitting. It's like what I choose to do on a Saturday, or I do it like 2 nights, like, like a couple of nights consecutively. It depends on the pattern. Like some patterns are easier depending on like how the dress is, like cutting it and measuring it is easier for some than others.
And with the face masks, you're just like, I gotta have it to match. So like how many face masks have you made?
Man, probably like 20 so far. Some for me, some for friends, but those only take like 10 minutes maybe. They're like super easy to make.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they don't really take that long because it's really just like tracing the pattern and then just like I can make one like super quick. Like I'll have friends that are just like, hey, I'm gonna come by and drop something off. Like they drop something off and I'm like, I made you a mask. Like here you go. So yeah.
With all this like quarantine stuff, like have you felt like you've been wearing the mask out a lot? Like I've been trying to kind of just go to and from work, and at work I'm not really wearing it. I'm kind of like by myself when I'm working.
Yeah.
But like I recently went to the doctor yesterday and had to wear it, and I'm like, man, that shit gets hot under there.
Yeah, I work out in the park because I can't work out in my apartment. It's just it would be insane. So I'm at the park and I'm working out. I don't wear one. But like if I go to the grocery store, so I wear one if I go to the grocery store. Like every other week, I go to the grocery store. But when I'm out walking my dog, like it's too hot and I can't breathe. So if like I'm coming up and I see like people, I'll like pop it on. Mm-hmm. And like if it's just he and I and no one else is around, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna wear this. Like I'm not near someone,
I don't think people get that whole thing with like the mask where they're like, that's against my rights. It's like, dude, just don't be a dick. Like,
yeah, no, it's like, it's not for,
you don't have to wear it 24/7.
I had to go to the bank the other day. Cause my apartment complex is like switching over ownership. I had to get a check. I'm like, I don't have checks. Who has checks now? So I went to the bank and we're standing in line and this woman comes in and she it just is complaining loudly about this has gone too far. this is, and just the whole time, like so loudly. And it's like, we heard you. Like everyone here heard you. There's no people in line that missed out on your bitch session. Like, can you like, and it's like, and then she was just like, this has gone too far. And first of all, she was a woman that was obviously over the age of 70. I'm like, we're all doing this for you.
So
like,
you don't die. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I felt so bad for the woman because she like, so I was at the teller, you know, I got my check and I was like, you know, thank you very much. And I knew that woman was behind me because she was right behind me in line. And I felt so bad because I was like, oh my God, you have to help this woman and you are nice. And then as soon as I walked off, like I heard the teller like greet the woman. She was like, how are you doing today? And the woman was like, not good. I was like, this is not, she doesn't set the rules. Like she's an employee. Like she has to abide by all the same rules.
She's just working.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that, like she doesn't like, the totem pole of control is you and then her. Like there's no, it's not like she doesn't have like the upper hand on you.
Right. I went to a CVS to pick up a prescription and it was like, you must wear masks, which I was like, if there's a place you have to wear masks, like a pharmacy where people are going to pick up stuff that like they may be sick, like that makes the most sense out of anything. Yeah. And this guy, like they were telling him no. And like, I was like waiting for him to lose his shit. Cause I've been waiting this whole time for the like white person cop video where they're like, oh, well, look, they're infringing upon my rights. Let me show you this store manager's name and his badge ID. And
yeah,
like, I've been waiting for that for a while. I haven't seen it yet. And I thought this guy was about to go there, but he didn't get like outrageous or anything. He's like, well, I was unaware I had to wear a mask in here. I didn't know.
And it's like, it says it. Yeah, and like the thing is you're doing it to protect the people who are choosing to work so that you can go to a city.
Right.
And it is not that difficult to just put a mask on. Like, I just don't understand. It's like when I have students that bitch about things and I'm just like, why are you complaining about this is the hill you're going to die on? Like this is going to be the thing you go down for. And it's like, it's just like, it's so like, it's just like not being considerate of like all of the other people. Like, it's like
right.
a signal. It's like your turning signal is not so you know that you're turning right. It's so everybody else knows that you're turning right. Like it's just this like universal kindness. It's not, I was like, it's not hard to do. And it's not like they want you to bring a mask from home. Like most of those places, like at the bank, that woman who didn't want to wear a mask, they were like, we have masks, we can give you one. And she was just so mad. And I was like, first of all, you just got something for free. Like,
yeah, it's always cool.
Yeah. And like, and I'm like, I just don't understand like why you're so mad. Just people that just want to be mad. I'm like, imagine that's your life. Like imagine
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, I wish there was like so much not going on in my life that that's something I could choose to be mad about or care about. Like
you could go protest downtown.
Yeah.
And just waste your whole day doing that as opposed to just, doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That would be amazing. I'm like, that sounds like, I mean, it sounds horrible in the same sense, but I'm like, man, if that's all I had to worry about, that would be pretty relaxed.
Yeah. It's really just showing me that like, there's a lot of people that like, if you're in the plane wreck, they're eating all of the food day 2, like, and you're like, oh, okay, you're that guy. Cool. Thanks, man. Like they're the same people that don't want to put carts back. They're the same people that then like, when they do put the carts back, now they're leaving gloves all over the fucking ground. Where it's like, yeah, okay, weirdo. Like you're right. Everybody's trying to take away your rights, man. But like, fuck everybody else.
And you're like exactly, and yet you are taking like you are being shitty to people and making them do things they don't want to do just because you don't want to do a simple thing.
You think like 17-year-old working at HEB wants to pick up your fucking Corona gloves?
Yes.
No thanks.
I posted about that. Like right when this all started, I had a student. Like I was on like a video conference with her, and she had told me that she had like just come home from work. And this was before they had like done everything, all the precautions, but she had chose to wear a mask and gloves already at work. And some guy in line is like, she's checking him out. And he was like, oh, well, if you're so worried, why even come into work? And I was like, bro, this is her job. Like you came here. Like, you know what I mean?
Like eating?
Yeah, you're going to berate her for just wanting to keep like, because it makes you uncomfortable to see someone that's like kind of concerned or
is a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking, that's so dumb. Like that, I was like, I don't get that at all.
It is a weird stance to say or a hill to die on. Like you said, although I have a bad habit of dying on like the worst hills where I'm just like, no, I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Alex. You probably shouldn't have taken that argument that far, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're like, it's not that big of a deal.
I'm a diehard New York Giants fan, and there are so many times where I'm like, oh, okay, like there were holes, like this apartment that we're in now, I have not put any holes in the wall for football games. But
that's
a problem. It's like, dude, you're getting like, I'm 30 now. Like, maybe stop doing that.
That's when the wall punching ends. Like,
and then just start calling me Kyle after that point, right? But yeah, and like I'll be like, no, because the fucking Giants, if they had just done this, like, dude, like it doesn't.
Yeah, they didn't do it though.
Not because of me.
Yeah, exactly. You punching holes is not going to make it better the next time.
But I used to think that though. I used to think like if I sit on this side of the couch, it's going to happen, and it's like I've been really working on myself.
Yeah, no, that's why it's so funny. Even before this baseball season started, because last season, I've always been that way. And I remember talking to someone about like superstitions once, and I was like, being superstitious is such an egotistical thing because you attribute everything that's happening to you. Like, you matter. Like, it doesn't matter all the talent that these players have and have worked their whole lives. It's just what you do. They don't even know you. Like, it's just like, that's like before this season started, I was like, I'm giving up superstition this season. And I'm just going to watch baseball like I don't matter. And I'm going to see what that's like.
But like, how long is that going to last though?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then
see, the one time you don't care, it cancels baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Like, see what you did, Dusty. Oh no.
I did get a Giants tattoo before my senior year in high school. That was in like 2007. And then they won the Super Bowl that year. And I was like, if you don't think I was convinced that me getting a Giants tattoo was like not the whole reason. I was like, I mean, I'd like some credit. I feel like I should be getting a ring. I feel like some of this was largely because I inked them up, you know, like, right? Like they weren't supposed to win.
Me. Exactly.
I would have liked an invite to the championship parade, maybe the White House. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah. Just maybe a shout out, maybe a float for just my tattoo in the parade. You know, whatever.
Just a tweet, something like that. I don't think Twitter was even like a big thing then. So maybe a MySpace. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could copy my MySpace song or put me in your top 8, that'd be great.
That'd be great. Yeah, exactly. Wasn't there like a top friends you could have for a while?
You had your top 8, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then like if your like girlfriend wasn't your number 1, she's like, what the fuck, dude? Like.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm headed over to Facebook to mark this relationship as complicated.
I remember when Facebook came around being like, that's never going to last. Like 2 MySpaces. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that because I was a journalist when Facebook was like a thing. Because I graduated, I got a job, and I remember I had to start getting a Facebook page to like reach out to like artists and people that I wanted to interview because like they weren't on MySpace. They were like, I'm not on MySpace. It's just like now it's like, no, they have an Instagram. They don't have a Facebook. And I'm just
well, it's like age catches up to it. And I don't know if MySpace ever had the age thing, but now it's like everybody's mom has on Facebook too. So it's like, well, the kids are on IG or TikTok. I'm still like, I watch TikToks, but I don't have an idea yet. Cause like, unless you have the idea, then you're just the weirdo that creeps on TikTok.
Yeah. I feel like you have to, like TikTok, I'm like, I would have to have like a brand, wouldn't I? Like,
right. Like, I don't know any dances. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Very uncoordinated, white. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. But,
a video together to make yourself look coordinated.
Maybe that. Yeah. Just spend like all day doing it. So you said you were a journalist. Now I know you did like music, right? You wrote about a lot of artists and stuff. You're big in the local music scene, huh?
I was more so like back when I first started, because when I started I was like kind of a music journalist but / like local arts too. Like I did a lot of like theater, you name it. Like if it was basically anything that was happening over the week, like just the events. But I did have an interest in like local music when I started, because that's kind of how like I like started. I worked for the U of H paper and just like I wrote about a lot of like local musicians back in like the early 2000s in Houston. Now, so I'm not as much like I don't know as much as like when I used to like actually be a journalist and I was around it all the time.
Okay, well I was gonna ask you like, what are your like favorite local bands? Do you have any?
Young Mammals. Mammals are a favorite. Yeah, I love them. Some like I'm trying to think of like also some that have like kind of like moved. Like I love Fat Tony. He was from Houston originally. He's just like everywhere, but I love him. Buxton, when they were around, I was a huge, like, I love them. I have some of their stuff on vinyl too. Obviously the Suffers. Cam's my girl.
That's my favorite. You want to like
the Suffers
Cam?
are like the Suffers are weird because I knew all of them when they were in separate acts. Like
all 300 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Because like a lot, like my ex from many moons ago was a jazz guitarist, and he used to do like jam sessions with a lot of them at like upstairs at Avant Garde and all these other places. So some of them I knew from that, and then some of them I just knew from other bands. And then I knew Cam because I met Cam when she was in a ska band. Because a guy that I worked with at the paper at U of H brought me to one of her shows, and I met her, and then I just knew her forever. And so it's just like all of them, and I like have like different roads of meeting each other. And then when they came to form like the super group, I was like, yes.
Dude, they're nuts. Like I've listened to their last album probably like 1,000 times all the way through.
Oh yeah.
It's such an easy, like you can't start it and just turn it off. You got to go all the way through it.
Yeah, it's a nice like playthrough album. It's definitely gold.
I get mad when I try and talk. I'm like, have you ever heard of the Suffers? Like, I have a Suffers shirt. I got one of their things, and like, if I wear it, they're like, who's that? Like, you don't fucking know the Suffers?
Yeah, exactly. Go.
God damn it.
Do you know about Spotify? Like,
yeah, just educate yourself. I saw them at the zoo
exactly.
last time I saw them. They played at Feast with the Beasts. It's
where
you get to go watch all the animals get fed.
Yeah.
And they closed it out, and I was like, this is the best night ever. I get to watch a giraffe get fed, and a tiger get fed, and then I get to see the Suffers. Okay.
That would be funny if you also watched them eat.
That would be funny. Yeah, but before, we're going to show their pre-show meal.
Yeah, exactly. It's just them sitting at one of those long tables. Like,
or they have to toss food to them. Like they all got to catch it. Like when you go to a hibachi grill.
Yeah.
So you didn't. You're a teacher now, but you didn't start that way. Like how did you get into teaching? Were you a teacher or did you get into comedy first?
No, it went journalism, teaching, comedy. Well, kind of. Yeah. So I was a journalist. And when I was a journalist, like I also wrote a lot about comedy. Like I wrote a cover story about the Houston comedy scene, like way in the early 2000s. I got to interview like a number of comedians when they would come into town, like if they come to the Improv or the Last Stop or wherever, like I would interview them. Then I got laid off like during the Great Recession, and I sort of like took like a couple months to really think about what I wanted to do. Like I got job offers to go like do like other stuff at other newspapers and stuff, but I was just like, I was kind of like really why I was like, I wasn't really trying like actively to get a job in journalism. So I kind of had to like ask myself about that. Like why, you know what I mean? Like, why are you like trying? And I think it was because I knew I didn't really want to do it forever or just that. And I was really interested in teaching. So I decided to like, I was like, I'm gonna go back to school because I only needed to go back for like, I think I went back for 3 semesters. And like I had enough credit, so I was like, because I already had 2 degrees. Like when I graduated college, I had a degree in communications and a degree in English. And so I was like, I guess I'll go back to school. But so I went back to school. I was like, I'll try teaching, and if I don't like it after like 2 years, then I'll quit because like that's not okay. Like I don't know, don't be a teacher if you hate it. That sucks.
I know a couple of people like that.
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
Like it's like a good hours, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like yeah, exactly. And like some people are just in it. Plus, it's like it's very hard to get fired from a job in teaching. Like you'd be surprised. Like
you gotta hit a kid or have sex with.
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Like I mean, like that's sadly the truth. Like,
have you ever wanted to hit a kid though? Like my mom's a kindergarten teacher, and she tells me stories, and I'm like, I would get fired immediately because I would punt that kid to the other side of the room.
Yeah. No, like I just don't I like aggression just isn't a thing. It's more so just like I like sort of like I also just like I teach seniors. So a lot of times like I'm more inclined to just like tell them like it is, you know.
They're kind of hanging too. Like senior year, you're kind of like they're enjoying the last year they are there a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah, but then like that's what it's like. Sometimes like I will say things to them, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're 18. Somebody needs to tell you this before you leave high school, go to the real world. Like, if I tell it to you, someone's gonna tell it to you. But no, like, yeah. So then I just started teaching, and I loved it. Like I absolutely loved it. And I was just like, really felt that I was good at it. And so I was like, I don't want to stop doing this. And then it was like 2 or 3 years into teaching, and I was like hanging out with a lot of comedians. And like one night I just like, somebody signed me up for this open mic. And she was like, I put your name in the list. Go up there and tell that story you told to us the other night. And I was like, okay, this is going to be disaster. And it actually wasn't. Like my first time on stage wasn't terrible. Like some people have those things where they go up on stage and like they just like, you know what I mean? But I didn't have that. Like I went up on stage and I did look. It was sort of an audience filled with people who do like stand-up music and improv. So everybody was just like there for you. It was a much more supportive audience. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how I would have done at some other mic. Cause I mean, it's not like I haven't bombed. It happens. You know what I mean? But like, so I just felt more confident about it. And then like, I just kept doing it. And it was the same sort of thing as I was like, I'm going to do this for a while. And if I think I suck and I'm not, you know, and it was also like hanging around with comedians for so long. It's like, I know how this works. And if I suck, like these certain things aren't going to happen.
Like certain people kind of quit talking to you after a while. Is that how it works?
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, not like, I was like, I know what it means when you're not good. Like, I know what that looks like. You know what I mean? And I was around people like, so then I was like, and it was funny because all of the friends that I had were already comedians that I thought were good. And I was like, they're going to tell me if I suck. Like, I know they will. You know what I mean? And so it just like, I just kept doing it and then it worked.
So how long have you been doing comedy then?
Now it's like 7 or 8 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
And you've run you've run Rudyard's mic for like that about that entire length. Has it been 7 years?
Pretty much. Like I started it with Kevin Farron and Joe Bates and I kind of all like through like, it was like a suggestion I made. We went and talked to the owners of Rudyard's. They were down. Kevin sort of like ran it for a while, but he hated it. He hated running it. So then I kind of took over for him. And then he eventually stopped doing comedy. And then I just like, was just like, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to run it, you know, because it's not like me hosting every night. It's like we pick people to host so they get that experience, you know. Mm-hmm. But it was just like, but then like I just kind of took it and just kept doing it.
Well, like, I feel like a lot of people that listen to this may not be 100% like in tune with like what an open mic is. Like maybe they know what an open mic is. It's like when you're playing music, but you're just signing up to do stand up. Like what really goes into like, because you got to schedule people, you got to like try and not make people mad. You got to play with a lot of egos.
All of that.
Explain what goes all into that. Yeah.
So it depends. Everybody runs open mic differently. Like the kind of classic way to run an open mic is what's called show up, go up. And that's how we started Ruds at first. And it's like you show up and it's first come, first served. Like the list is out and you sign up on the list and there'll be like whatever number of slots depending on how late the open mic goes. Mm-hmm. You sign up where you want to go. And sometimes like that gets tricky because comedians will sign up other comedians that can't make it. And then people get pissed because like you cut in line. And that's kind of how it started with Rudyard's. And I just started to be a headache. And I was like, I fucking hate this. I don't like waiting in lines for stuff. And I had comics showing up. Like when the open mic first started, it started at 9. And I had comics that were getting there at like 5 or 6 to sign. And I was like, that's just like I appreciate the hustle and like the dedication, but that also sucks for people. Like I don't want to make someone do that. It just seems shitty. You know what I mean? And I think that I think some people run mics because they want that stroke of their ego or they want that sense of power. There is no one who assumes they have more power than someone that runs an open mic, in my opinion, honestly. Like, I was like, you don't really have, I mean, other than this, I was like, I don't like doing this. And then we played with the format of Rudyard's for a while, like how to make it interesting. But then finally, like we used to do a thing where there was like a feature in the middle. We used to like try to play games. But then finally I was like, nope, just let's make this an open mic. But the difference is I'm going to start an email sign up. So if you want Rudyard's, basically like this is how like Rudyard's runs is that Thursday through Friday, like the signups open on Thursday and close at Friday. And you just send an email with your name. That's all you have to do. And then I make the list. And when it first started, I got so much shit for that. Everyone hated it. Everyone bitched and complained, which is funny because Andy Huggins, like the oldest comedian, who I don't even think had a computer at the time or had like, you know, whatever, did it every month. Like he signed up every week. And then there were all these people bitching. You have a smartphone. Like it's literally sending a text message.
Right.
Thursday or a Friday. This is not hard. And if you're so concerned about getting time in this room, wouldn't you like so let me get this straight. You'll show up to a mic at 6 p.m. when it doesn't start until 8, but you don't want to send an email like on a Thursday or Friday. So then, because that's the thing is I was like, I'll send out the list by Monday morning. So you know when you're going up. So for me, it's just like it makes sense because it's easier on everybody. Like
you had to hang out all night.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would like, so then that does like going into the list. So the other part of your question is, yeah. So then I get all the emails. So on average, I get like 50 to 60 emails and I only have 40 spots. Like that's just how Rudyard's is because we run it from 8 to midnight. Crowds don't stick around longer after that. So there's no point. Like, right. And I was like, and so like, I basically like the front half of the show is usually like a mix of like the, like, definitely like heavy hitters unless they need a later spot because they have a show somewhere else or they have work or whatever. Like Zahid, for instance, teaches lessons, so he can't go up until the second half of the show usually. And sometimes like comedians send me like, hey, I can only go up during this time. And I'm like, cool, if you can only go up during that time, I can't promise you I can get you in, but I'll try. That's just because that's too much for me to worry about. I'm like, I'm not a boss making a schedule for the week. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, so no, so it is a mix of that. Like I want stronger comedians going up. I might sprinkle in some like stronger talent that's new. So maybe someone that isn't like super practiced, but shows some promise just to have them feel what it's like to go up in front of a slightly better crowd. But in general, like if you're a newer comedian, you start your way at the bottom of the list and you work your way up. That's how we all do it. And the other thing about Rudyard's is the other thing about the show up, go up is the other thing is big in the comedy community open mic is what's called bumping the list. And it's like, say you're on the list and you're number 9, but you've been doing comedy for like 2 months, right? And then I have another comedian walks in and
didn't like Chappelle show up to something a couple of months ago?
Yeah, Chappelle showed up and he showed up at like the end of the night. But that was the thing. He purposely came when he knew the mic was basically over. Like,
oh, okay, that's cool.
He didn't want to come in like at the top. He wanted to come in when like no one was there. So like, but yeah, but like you might get bumped. And so, but that can happen a lot. Like there were mics in town where a comedian would be on the list and say you were number 9, but then like 4 comedians show up and they get bumped and you go up way later than you thought. And some people were like, you know what, that's the name of the game. That's comedy. And that's fine. I think that sucks. And I try not to do that. Mm-hmm. And when I might have to do that, like around like holidays when I know people are coming back into town, I let people know that up front. Like when I send out the list, I'm like, just so you know, it's the holidays. So you might get bumped. You know what I mean? But I try to make it like so that you like, as you get better, you work your way up the list. And then you get like better spots and better spots. But yeah, as far as egos, yeah, I get people bitch at me all the time. Like, well, not so much anymore. But in the beginning, it was just like, I deserve a better spot than this person. Or why don't you ever put me on the list? Or it's like, Dusty hates me. And it's like, it's like with my kids. When I give my kids like a 70, you hate me. And I'm like, no, you turned in 70. Like 70 is not a character judgment. It's an assessment of your ability. Like
it's what you did.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with an open mic. I'm like, you're new. Like you're going to sit in the 30s for a while and get better. It's not because I don't like you. It's because you haven't like, look at everybody that's before you on the list. Like
pay your dues.
Yeah. It's just like, and it's like, yeah, you work your way up until and some people don't sit. Like there have been comedians that started and like, I'm trying to think of who I want to say, like probably someone like Grady Pruitt, who when he started at the bottom, but he honestly just was really funny, really fast. So he just like moved his way up the list very quickly because he was just like he came out of the gate strong, you know? Mm-hmm. And that happens.
Well, and comedy does seem like one of those things where like people see it on TV, you watch the Netflix specials. So you're like, I could do that. My friends at work say I'm funny. So you go up and it's like, dude, like you're not going to be the next Bill Burr overnight. Like Bill Burr literally talks about like living in a fucking railroad apartment for years before he was able to like get to where he is. And it's like, nobody was ever just like, yeah, that guy. Like I've never heard a story about a comedian be like, the second I heard that dude, I knew he was the funniest guy in my entire life.
Yeah, you had to like develop it over time. Like everyone, like, because it's like you have to develop your set when you have to develop your time. So like, yeah, I think that's funny. On the other side of the spectrum, like a mini rant I'll go on is I hate it when people sign up for RUDs and they're like, oh yeah, so I was in a fantasy league and I lost, and the punishment, one of the punishments is I have to sign up and do an open mic. And I'm like, I always want to write them back and be like, let me give you some context right now. You're sending me, a comedian who's doing comedy for like 6, 7, 8 years, whenever I got that email, there's been many, and you're telling me that one of my life's dreams is your punishment? Like that's so, like that's so, it's like, fuck you, no. And
if you're wanting me to give you a slot.
Yeah, exactly. I always kindly reply, sorry, we don't do that. Like, I don't, like, you're not like, I'm not gonna, I'm not going to give you a spot for someone who's actually trying to
It's not a karaoke night.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not that. And that like is just a slap in the face. I did it once and I regretted it. And the guy was such a dick that I actually kept bumping him for other comedians. Because that's the thing too, is like he brought this big group of friends and they were like, I was downstairs, like, we're just gonna sit downstairs till he goes up. And I wanted to walk up and be like, fuck you. Like, you can't go up and like drink your beers upstairs and watch the other comedians. Like, maybe you don't want to because you're scared, but what about your friends? Like, they could support the mic and they could support everybody that's going up, you know, like, and I was just so annoyed by it. So then I went upstairs and I told the host, I was like, bump him. He was like, yeah, I was supposed to go up. And I go, sorry, man, there's people that got other shows because they actually do this. I was just like, because he was just being so and it was that moment where I was like, never again will I let a fantasy loser do my own. Drawing the line hard there.
Did he go up and like just talk about, well, you know, I had to do this? Like, was that like his whole bit?
And it was him like roasting his friends, but it like wasn't even funny. And of course, there's comics in the back, and we're all standing back there, and we're like, ugh. And because more so, I was like, I just feel sorry for them because they have to be friends with him. Like,
you gotta talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Like, does he do this all the time? Because there was one, I think he told some joke or story, and he pointed at like, he's like, you guys laughed the last time I told this, and I was just like, oh God, can you imagine? Like, you're not even some comic that was like, this worked at my show the other night. You're reminding your friends that they once laughed at something that they're now not.
It's an inside joke with your friends, and you're trying to tell a whole room of people about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that does sound exhausting having to put that together. Like, hopefully it's not that way every week though, right?
No, it gets easier, and it gets easier over time. Like most of the now, like that was like the first 3 or 4 years was a big headache. And now like random headaches pop up, but they're few and far in between now.
Well, I might have to make a penalty in my fantasy league. If we lose, we got to do an open mic set. I'm gonna add that into the rules next time and just see if maybe we can figure it out.
Yeah, make them go. Yeah, make them go up.
We'll go up and sit and drink the beer and watch the other comics though. We'll do that.
Exactly. Just tell them to sign up and don't tell me they lost a fantasy league.
Okay, yeah. No, but like I've been practicing for years. This is my moment.
I'll see you walk up and I'm like, man.
God damn it. Again. This guy. So like, talk to me about like doing like you doing the teaching and then trying to translate that into, because I did some prep and I heard you talking about you don't have like a TV in your living room, or you didn't when I listened to another podcast you were on, and you were saying that you like to just have the conversation and everything. And I was like, well, like where, like you just get your material from some teaching and just from other stuff that you're doing. Just
yeah,
like, to me, TV, I feel like there's a lot of bits. Like a lot of people talk about like what's going on. Do you watch a lot of TV, or do you watch the news to get your information from there, or just
yeah, I guess like, well, I think like my comedy is like mostly pretty personal. Mm-hmm. So if I talk about like issues at all, it's like how they affect me and how I interpret them, because most of my stuff is, it's about teaching or just about like how I like look at like the outside world. So I don't really do a lot of like kind of that, like that set up punchline current events.
What's the deal with airplanes?
Yeah. Like, I don't really talk about that kind of stuff. Like everything sort of comes from this, the current events I discuss might be like maybe something that happened in my classroom, or maybe my like interaction with a person, or like a date I went on, or some like weird experience I had, you know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. So all of those kind of like pull from that. So like I watch TV. I'm not like one of those people. Like my whole reason I don't have a TV in my living room is because I grew up in a family where like we just would watch TV all the time. And then in my first house, like when I lived with people, it was the same thing where there was a TV in the living room and we invited people over and people would just start watching TV and not talk to one another. And I just always been like, so when I have an apartment, I have like a living room and a bedroom. My TV's in the bedroom, that's awkward. Like when people come over, I'm like, I guess we can watch TV. Shall we go into the bedroom? It's just like a weird, because I like have a TV out here. But so I think that's why my comedy is mostly like so personal and comes from like my like own personal experience, that like it doesn't get affected as much by like, I listen to a lot of news, and actually like I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff about like, and like I'm like a news junkie, and but that's just the way I process jokes is usually like not like the way it mostly comes from conversations that I have with people where like I'll have a conversation with someone, and then later on I'll kind of think about what we talked about, or even in that conversation we'll be talking about something, and just I'll say something and I'm like, I need to think about that later for a joke. I'm not trying to work out a bit, but it's like I was having a conversation with like this guy in my apartment complex recently, and we were I don't even know how we got on the subject, and we started talking about like threesomes, and they were like, Dusty, you know, have you ever had a threesome? And I was like, no, I wouldn't want to do that. And they were just, and I was like, and it's not a moral thing. It's like, one, like, I'm incredibly selfish. I want to be the center of attention. It's partly why I do comedy and I teach. But like, two, like, I was like, if I'm doing something to someone or they're doing something to me, neither of us should be able to concentrate on anything else. Like, I don't want to have to worry about this. And, you know, if I want to multitask, I'll like go to work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need that. But it was like, he said,
yeah.
I immediately was talking about it. And in my back of my brain, I was like, I need to think about this more because this could be a thing. You know what I mean? And so it's like, then later on, like it's like weird. I have these like conversations with myself about like I'm almost as if I'm being interviewed on something. And that's a lot of how I develop or write my jokes. Like, it's me like giving my take on something, and I'll work through it. And then I'm like, okay, that's ready for stage. And then I'll take it to the stage. What sucks right now is like, that keeps happening. And for the first time, I'm actually like writing the list down of things I think of, because I don't have a place necessarily to like work those out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so have you done any, like, I've seen some comedy that's been done like virtually over Zoom.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
And like on the overnight
funny.
guys, the late night guys, like they don't have a laugh track, so it's just like
I watch a lot. I love John Oliver, and I've been watching him, and it is like really interesting to watch them without laugh tracks. But then it's also like they're fun, like that. Like, I think if I was one of like that, I think might be a little like, because people have talked about like, do you want to do like a Zoom stand-up show? And like I'm not considering it, but I'm still sort of like, I don't know about that. And like, it's funny because Michael Che, I think, summed it up. He said this on like one of the first episodes back with Saturday Night Live at Home, where they did Weekend Update, but they invited people on the Zoom chat so they could hear them laughing. Mm-hmm. And Michael Che was like, I feel like doing stand up to a camera with no audience is like some sort of weird hostage situation. It's like, I was like, yes, that is true. Like, so it was like one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know if like, I'd want to do that. But then like a friend, like a fellow comedian recently asked me if I'd be interested in doing a show where it is that, where it's like you're on a Zoom call, but there's other people. Because he recently did one, and he was telling me that it's actually like kind of nice because there's always a moderator in it. And so like if somebody's becoming like unruly, they can just mute that person or kick them out of the Zoom chat.
There's no hecklers on the Zoom comedy.
Yeah, so it's like it's like an easy shutdown for hecklers, so you don't have to like worry about it. It's just like, okay. And he said it wasn't like, he was like, it was a lot. He's like, I actually had like a lot of fun doing it. And I was like, cool. Like eventually, I think, depending on how this lasts, I mean, I'll probably end up trying it because, you know,
yeah.
Like,
get those reps in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but I would also imagine though, just from like the Zoom, like the audience is like the SNL Weekend Update audience. Like the people that want to be on those are going to typically be the people that you want to do comedy in front of, because they're more like, there's not the the lady that got dragged to the Improv to watch you play or anything like that.
Exactly.
You know, she's just mad, isn't looking to have a good time.
Yeah,
there's usually people that are like, I'm here for a reason.
Right. Yeah, that's real. Like, yeah, that. But then there's always other people. Like, that's the sound. Like I say frustrating, but sometimes what is like, I think frustrating, and I also kind of, I don't know if I feel sorry for them, but it's the people that like think that their comments are adding to the show. And they do it with good intentions. Like they think that
I'm helping you.
Oh, I'm helping. And it's like, it's a weird negotiation to like, let them know they're not, but then also not seem like a dick so that the audience stays with you. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's also weird to just have to be like, you're not making it better. Please stop. You know what I mean?
It's honestly one of my favorite things to see too, where you bait them a little bit. All right. Hey, no, yeah, happy birthday. It's your birthday. Okay, cool. No, you can't come up on stage. And then like at some point you're just like, dude, fuck off, dude. Just fuck off. No.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is on your side at that point too, because like, all right, well, we were tired of her yelling too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all. Like, luckily, I've only had that happen like a couple times, and so like, I'm always thankful for that because like, but like, normally it's like an easy negotiation. I have that easy teacher card I can play where I'm like, hey, you need to raise your hand. And it's more of this like easy negotiation. So I don't have to, you know what I mean? Like I don't like, you can still like reinforce it positively and move on. But there have been a couple times where I was just like, no, can you just like go back to the woodlands and stop? Like, like please. I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, it's definitely not. I try not to be mean to people.
Well, that positive attitude while you're dealing with like conflict is definitely something I feel like that has to be necessary to be a teacher or like a good teacher. Because my mom, who I think is like the greatest woman on earth, like
she teaches kindergarten. That's insane.
All right, kids. Now, no. We need to stop fighting each other and go back to our places. And I was like, get the fuck away from him. What are you doing?
Yeah, I always love 2 or 3 years ago, one of my classes, I just like. One thing I remember, I walked in and I was just like, I don't even remember what these 2 kids are doing, but I was like, I don't even know what to tell you to stop doing right now because I actually don't even know what you're doing, but don't do it.
I don't like it.
But there were also like random things I would tell them to stop doing that they made this list on the wall that just said like, rules that Rhodes has to make up because we're a bunch of weirdos. Because I think I said think about these rules because you guys are weird. And it was just like weird things like don't use the pencil sharp. The one was like don't use the pencil sharpener to flirt with someone. Or no, the stapler to flirt with someone. And I remember like we were reading them at the end of the year and I was just like, what even happened with this?
Who did what?
Yeah, what? But it was like just weird stuff like that they do where I'm just like, can you not? And then just narrate to them exactly what they're doing and then just think that's a weird thing to tell you shouldn't do. I don't know.
The pencil sharpener one though, like flirting with the pencil, going to the pencil sharpener, that was like a big thing, man. That was big.
Yeah. And what's funny is not in my new room when I moved schools, but in my old room, I actually had 2 like old school pencil sharpeners.
So like,
I actually have I have a tattoo on my back of, I don't know if you can see it, but it's an old school pencil sharpener. It says "Stay sharp." Yeah. Yeah. So when I of course, I got one. And so I was like, I can't have a tattoo of this and not have it in my classroom.
Right.
Fake am I? Yeah, but it was so funny because then the kids would get up all the time and I was like, all right. But then I put up these signs that was one of the signs I put above one of the pencil sharpeners was like 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood and I chose not to talk about it at the pencil sharpener. Like a young Robert Frost, probably. But they but it was just like that. But I love them. Like the thing is too is teaching high school is fun because kids I think kids today have this I think because they grew up I think my generation and it was sort of you grew up in this very and sometimes I think of it as the Simpsons generation and that it was a time when humor was a little bit more elevated, but we didn't even realize it. We were more intelligent than we gave ourselves credit for.
With sarcasm and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's been reflected into students. And so they're their senses of humor and how they interact is a little bit more mature and intelligent. As much as people don't want to believe that, I've seen it. You know what I mean? And it's so it's fun to have my students and I have that relationship. They make fun of me, I make fun of them. There's a thing in my class, when I burn you, they call it being dusted because they know me. They'll be dusted. But it's just but they're fun to hang around with. I like when they make fun of me. I think it makes the class fun and it's all good nature. No one, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that part of teaching, it just makes it a lot more enjoyable. I think when you learn to see yourself as I hate authority. And the biggest problem I had when I started teaching was I don't want to be an authority. I don't even like authority. I don't want to be that. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So it's trying to keep that level where it's okay, I need you to listen to me and respect me in some, because I am the expert in the room, but I also am not I also want this to be a good, a relationship that's seen as give and take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about leaving your ego at the door and just realizing they're just kids, you know? I have so much more patience for teenagers than I do. If adults act like teenagers, I'm just I hate you.
You shouldn't be at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just have I have no patience for and I've tried to get better about this because I have so much empathy for teenagers. And sometimes I realize, especially running an open mic, sometimes it's when the younger comics come up, I realize I need to be a little bit more patient with them, but sometimes your fucking life together. Like, come on, man. Like, you know, I don't know. I feel bad.
No, I get what you're saying though. But like,
Yeah.
Have you ever had any students come out and to see you like perform?
Yeah.
Do you like do you push shows like on the board, or you like also?
Oh
I got
yeah,
dates
exactly.
here
Come
and
out.
here?
No, what's funny is I don't have any of my, it's really funny. I don't have any of my stand up online. Like I do like on my website, but you can't just Google me on Facebook. What is on Facebook though is I used to do all these readings.
You can just use regular Google, which is, I would say, broader and easier.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. And so like, I read story. I do this thing called Grown Up Story Time, which is like at Ready to, and it's a thing where people write stories and then they pick people to read them. So it's like they've been doing it for years in Montrose. It's an awesome event. And I've read stories for them before, none of them mine. And like I read this, one of the stories I read this time was this woman's battle with chlamydia. And I had kids come in one day and just like, Miss Rhodes, you ever had an STD? And I was like, what are you, like, that's not even appropriate that you're asking. And then I heard one of them say chlamydia, and I go, oh, what, you looked me up on YouTube like a creep? And so I was like, did you also notice in that story that it said read by Dusti Rhodes, written by someone else? Or have I not taught you any research skills at all? Because that's what you just proved to me. My job properly.
And you failed.
Like, but that same thing has happened with dudes. Dudes have been like, oh, I just saw this video about you, you had chlamydia. And I was like, oh my God, no. Read, like take 5 seconds. It's so funny. Recently, I read this story a year ago. I don't know if it's on YouTube yet. It was a Grown Up Storytime story about this woman who went on a date with a guy who wanted to eat a cheesecake out of her ass. And she let him. And I had to keep pausing this story. And not because I had to, but because I wanted to. And I was just like, just to reiterate, I didn't write this story. If you're a student who has Googled me, this did not happen to me. Like, now back to the story. But no, I have had students that have come out. I've never told them about my shows. I've had students like, now more students are familiar with it and they know about it. Mm-hmm. Like there's students who are like, Miss Rhodes, we really want to come to your shows. And there's a balance between like, are you a student who actually like is like interested in supporting me? Because that's the way, like I work at a campus. It's like, we're very much like, it's a smaller school. We're very like close as like a campus, like both teachers and staff and students. Like it's a very like kind of almost family environment. It has a lot to do with like who our kids are and how they're raised and just their backgrounds and everything. So they'll come in, but I have had students knowingly, like I remember being at Trash Flavored Trash, the secret group one time, and I went up and I said something about being a teacher, and there was somebody from the back goes, Miss Rhodes, and I was like, oh, are you former students of mine? And they're like, yeah. And I go, okay, well, just like when you're in my classroom, sit down and shut the fuck up and listen to me until I'm done talking. But I have, and what's funny is a student that I had like my second year of teaching recently, like reached out to me on Instagram just to like, you know, tell me how he's doing. Like I wrote his letter of recommendation for college, but he told me, he was like, I was at the secret group and I saw you do this joke. Like I have this joke, I don't know, it's about like armpit fat and this like students.
Reggie?
Yeah. No, not the Reggie conversation. It's about it's like two students were in my classroom. They're talking about this girl they thought was attractive, and one of them was like, "That chick's not hot. She's got armpit fat." And I was just, "Is that a thing?" You know, I have a whole joke about it. But he like reached out to me and he goes, "That was our conversation, right?" He was like, "It was." And the students, I go, "Yep, that's about you guys." I was like, "That literally happened in my classroom." I was like, "Wait a minute, is that a thing? Like armpit fat is a thing that men find attractive or look for?" But again, like that's kind of my joke writing is like, I hear something and I'm like, that's something I got to write about.
Do you ever get called out? Like, I know you were talking about, like with the guy in your apartment talking about threesomes. Like, do you ever get called out? Like, are you working on a bit? Like do your students that are like, Miss Rhodes, is this a bit?
Oh no, because I don't run jokes by them in class. Like, because most of the time, if I do a joke that has to do with stuff that happened in class, it's something that they've said that then I, in my mind, interpret and think about later. Mm-hmm. But, jokes in class, but I'm also just like a goofy person.
Yeah.
But it is funny because, so I have 3 classes a day. Well, like it's technically I have 6, but whatever, doesn't matter. But anyways, like I have to teach those classes back to back. And before the school I used to work at, I had like 6 classes back to back. And what's funny is like I'm teaching a lesson. When you think about it, I'm teaching the same lesson 6 times or 3 times. And what's funny is like it's like you're working through a routine. Like you are, like every teacher. Mm-hmm. Stand up and they don't even realize it because you think of like as you're like a good practice in teaching is to think about what did I do that worked, what didn't I do that worked, so I can kind of get better throughout the day, you know what I mean? Or I've done before last year? What did I do last year? But what's funny is sometimes I'll say something to one class and they'll laugh and they'll be like, oh, I got to say that next class. And then I'll say it next class and it just falls flat. And I'm just like, did it sound too practiced? All right. Like,
You're like, this class just doesn't get it. They're not.
Yeah, exactly. Like third and fourth period, you killed.
You always have favorites though, right? Like every teacher has favorites, don't they?
That's
okay.
Real. That's real. I think it's like.
I was gonna call bullshit if you said no, because every teacher says I'm like, I know you're lying.
Yeah, no. You have students that you just like, but it's also like, but so do students. Students have teachers that they prefer more than others too. So I don't think it's like about feeling bad, because it's like, I feel worse having to admit that people are like, you have students you don't like, and I'm like, yes, like you do.
Look, some people are dicks.
Yeah, it's like there's people in the comedy community or even in my friend group that I'm like, I prefer it if you didn't show up all the time, but you do, so here we are. And you know what I mean? You got to get through your day. Like teachers to be more patient with people I don't like, I think, but like, because, you have to sit with them. Like they're in my class for like 2 hours a day. And I'm just like, all right, let's try to make the best out of this. And sometimes you have enjoyable experiences with them, so it's not so bad, but it's just like, yeah, but I like, no, you definitely have just those students that you sort of like click with more, or you just enjoy more. So no, you definitely have the ones like that. You definitely have, like I say favorites. It's actually what's more is favorite class periods. Like, because like
groups of kids.
That's the thing about teaching too, is it's like, there are the individual personalities, but then there's the collective personality of them, where it's like, I remember having one class period that I was like, I hate you as a group of people. When you come together for 7th period, it's like I used to tell my 6th period, I'm like, if you guys don't leave, they can't sit down anywhere. Like, just stay. But like collectively, I didn't like them. But individually, I liked them. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like when they came together as one, like when their forces combined, they were awful. Like they were just the worst.
That is funny. But that's cool that like people have come and seen you and stuff like that. Like that's cool that I feel like a lot of teachers like don't like, I guess like with social media and stuff, it is a little bit easier for like people to reconnect with teachers and stuff, because there are people who are like, I wish there's a couple of teachers where like I could be like, hey, thanks for telling me this one thing back like in like 4th grade. Like that was cool. That meant like that helped. Like you do realize as you get older that there's like certain teachers that like so and so doing this to me taught me like to never do that. Or
and I say to everyone, like I know this is not going to air till next week, but this week is actually Teacher Appreciation Week. But if you have a teacher and you have it in your means to just find them and send them that note, I think people don't realize that it means more to them than like people would think. Like even if I had some shitty kid that like wasn't my favorite person message me and say, hey Rhodes, you did this one thing and I just want to say, like, because a lot of times kids are like, you probably hated me, and I'm just like, no, I didn't hate you. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't like hate any of my students, because I also realize they're just like going through it. Because that's another thing that I hate. I hate it, like, I tell someone I'm a teacher, especially on a date. This is a date ender, and they're just like, oh, you would have hated me in high school. And I was just like, nah, you probably sucked. Because they're just like, or they're like, oh, well, are your kids dicks? And I'm like, no, most kids are great. Most people are great. Like you were probably awful. You're awful. You know what I mean? It's like, I was smarter than all my teachers, and I'm like, hold up, I'm good. Bye.
Yeah.
No, you probably weren't. Yeah.
I got to a point with like my parents with that, where it's like I used to like be combative with my parents, like always argue over everything, and like they were the most caring, loving. They had my back on like everything I ever needed, and I was just like, I didn't get it. And then I was like, at one point I was just like telling my dad, like, I'm so sorry. I was such a fuck off. Like, why didn't I just listen to you? You would have made my life so much easier if I had just been like, yeah, you're right. My dad knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like, he's lived a lot longer than me. He gets this.
Yeah, he does get it. Yeah, it was funny.
You're just like, a lot of kids just, you don't ever like, respect authority. Like, it's like the anti-authority mentality. And you're just like, nobody understands me. Nobody gets me. I'm going to go listen to Linkin Park and vent.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right, man, the world's against you. Okay. But I think like even those kids, if you really like, as a teacher, like one of the first things I do is if I have a kid who's like acting out in class or like, like challenging me or doing anything, first thing I do is call them out in the hallway. And the first question I ask them is, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Because like, I think like if you give them a chance to just point out like what you're doing, because sometimes it's like, then that's like a ground you can work up from, right? Mm-hmm. I can always say like, hey, cool, I have to do that, because if I don't do that, this happens. You know what I mean? But like, and so they'll get over it. Or sometimes like, but it's like, it's a conversation starter at least. And I'd like them to know that I'm just like, we're in this together. Like we really are. Like all of us, like you and I have to work together to get you to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
But you definitely have those kids. I always think those kids are kind of funny and I kind of relate to them. So like, it's always kind of fun with those kids. Cause I think they sometimes don't know how to like, what to make of me. Cause they're
like, well, you throw them off like with the, like, that's a great question. They're like, what am I doing wrong? Cause like, oh, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just mad at everything right now.
Exactly.
And then you gotta like self-reflect.
Yeah. Cause then sometimes you're like, I'm not mad at you. And I'm like, cool. Well, you are acting mad at me. So how can I make that stop? You know what I mean? When I'm just like, but like, I think that sometimes it's just like, yeah. Cause then sometimes that's all a kid needs. They just need a second because sometimes they don't know how to process all that right away. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, there's sometimes where I'm just like, hey, can you go out in the hallway and take 5 and then come back in?
Take a lap.
That's a game changer. Yeah, that's a game changer. And it's just like, but there's like, I think that that's the biggest mistake that some teachers make is I'm just like, they demand this apology or they demand something. And I'm just like, who gives a shit? At the end of the day, like, who cares? Like like, I'm just like, did you really need that apology? Like, is that going to,
like the 18-year-old saying, I'm sorry. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. An 18-year-old bowing down to you. Like this to me, I'm just like, that just doesn't, I don't want that. That's not, because then they come back in. And I guess it's for me, I'm so like hyper, like emotionally aware that it bothers me if I think someone's still mad at me and I just want to solve the problem. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, I don't like, I was like, that's just like, I don't like, I could feel it in the room and I'm like, ugh, I hate this. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know.
I used to have a teacher that like when I was in 9th grade, that like I would always talk with my friends and everything, and she hated football players. Like I played football, I wasn't very good, but I played football, and so she was like, "Oh, you're on the football team? Like f these guys. Like they're always problems. I always have problems with football players." And anytime like I would talk, like I got to the point where like, she would just send me to like our 9th grade principal's office, and I was so cool with the like receptionist Miss Martin there. Like she was like, "Oh, Alex, did you like a soda?" Okay, and like I would get to there like 3 times a week, and I was like, I'm not learning anything. Like, I'm not learning anything in the class. Okay, cool. Like, I don't care. Like, and at that point, like, when you kick me out of class, I get to hang out. Like, I wasn't planning on hanging out.
You're giving them what they need. That's
awesome.
Like classroom management 101. It's so funny when people make the kind of mistakes that you like learn about in college not to make. You know what I mean? Where it's like, reward a kid with exactly what they want. Like, kids are like, I'm just going to go to the office. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not. Like, you're going to sit there and finish this assignment. And one time, like, a kid was like, I'm just going to the office. So I had another kid follow him. And he's like, where are you doing? And he's like, bringing your assignment. Ms. Rhodes says you still have to finish it. Busted.
Yeah, you just hang out.
Yeah, exactly. But like, that's what I like. I like the school I work at. So the particular school I work at, like, we work to make kids not have to feel that way. And so we really work to like make it like, you know, a community and like a, you know, like an environment where it's like, and our kids are like genuinely good people. And when they're not, like, they've been sort of raised in a system that teaches them how to advocate for themselves. So honestly, like a lot of times, like I don't have to have as many conversations with students because if they're upset, they'll ask me, Ms. Rhodes, can we talk outside? Or Ms. Rhodes, can I go outside real quick? Or Ms. Rhodes, I need to go talk to someone. And so like, they already know like the best way to handle those situations. And so it's like nice. It's cool that they know that that's there for them because when that's not there for them, it's hard for both them and the teacher. Because I've worked in schools where it's not like that at all. And I'm just like, this is like, sometimes like administration is your biggest headache.
Just to like I feel like not to get like too deep about it, but just because you were talking about like I feel like this is like the first real generation that's like it's okay to like talk to somebody about things. I think a lot of other generations it was like just shut up, quit being a pussy. Like what's wrong with you? Like yeah. I think that was a bit like this is a big thing where like mental health is kind of being looked at like, oh, well, hey, you're right. Just being a prick to this guy for 4 years, that really messed him up. And that he had this this anger that he held under him for like that. Like,
yeah. So all you had to do was ask him, what am I doing wrong?
Right. And then it would have changed everything.
Figured it out. Yeah. I totally feel that way. I'm very lucky, but I think that that's something that's changing. I do think that's something that's changing in education a lot. And I think that people that are going into education are smarter about it too. So.
I think in society and a lot of other stuff like that, like we need to kind of start taking those investigations and like, okay, well, how is this going to work? Like one of the co-hosts on the morning show I'm on, she went back to school and she's trying to learn how to go into like mental health and everything. She said like, well, this whole mental health crisis, it really spoke to me. And I really felt like, and I was like, wow, like that, like I would be the worst person to help people with that stuff. But like you are a caring person that is good at things. Like she has all the qualities of somebody that would be able to help other people with that. So it's like, that's awesome that you're able to do that. And I think just mental health is like, it's such a gray area right now where nobody really knows like what is what and like what constitutes as like, okay, is this crazy or is this like a normal thing that we can process through or like PTSD used to just be shell shock. It was like, well, put him in the corner. He'll be fine.
Yeah, and so we practice restorative justice at the school I work at, which is like restorative justice basically is unlike criminal justice, which is like who did it and how can we punish them. Restorative justice is like what happened and how can we fix this within the community, like who was affected and how can we like, you know, like heal the harm that was done. And so we sit in what we call circle a lot, where it's like everybody gets to say how they were affected by something. So it's like the person who like maybe caused harm is what we would say, like gets to hear from everybody, hey, here's how I was affected by this.
Is it almost like an intervention? Like
it's kind of like that, but it's more like this is like it's like a more of like a tribal practice.
Okay.
I mean, it's something that's like kind of practiced in education. Some people frown on it because some people want a more punitive consequence. Like just send them to detention and they'll learn or expel them. And it's like studies have shown that actually doesn't work at all.
I never learned that way. I just hated the person that did it.
Yeah, and so like, and I've seen that, like when I came to this campus and I just see like the trust that students have with their teachers and other students and their administrators, because they know that they like at least will be listened to. Mm-hmm. And I think that's it. Like, that's like, it's such a key thing where it's like, it's not hard, just like it's not hard to put on a mask. It's not hard to just listen to someone without immediately just wanting to retort. Like just listen to what they're trying to say. And sometimes like, you're like, oh, we can solve this easily. But I think sometimes people's ego just gets in the way. So it's like, just relax.
I think that not even just in school, I think in a lot of like workplaces and stuff like that, it's like, you just want to be able to like, okay, well, like you said, like just know that people are there to listen. Like if I go to my boss with a concern or something, like I've worked at places before where it's like, yeah, that guy didn't give two shits about what I just told him.
Yep.
Like, like, all right, cool. Yep. We'll take care of it. All right. See you later. Go back to your shift.
Yeah. You're like, I'm not even done talking. He's like, yep.
He's on the way out the door. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, I don't matter. So like,
yeah. And like that. Yeah. So I definitely think like, just like making people feel like they're at least like, they account for something.
It's good that we got people out like you and like the people you work with that are doing that though. Cause I think that is very important. And it's like teachers are so fucking underpaid, and it's like, it's crazy with everything going on. We're like, do we not appreciate teachers? Like all the fucking parents stuck at home this year. I hope somehow there's a way where we're like, you're right. We should start taking care of teachers. I hate my kids after 3 days and they have to deal with them every day. Oh my God.
You know what's funny about that? Two things I think are great about that. One, the number of podcasts I listen to where now people are having to record from home or whatever, and they made that comment where they're just like, oh my God, I have to teach my kids. This is a nightmare. We should pay teachers more. That has been something. But on the other side of it, when I talk to other teachers that I work with that teach high school, but now have to stay home all day with their smaller children, they're like, I could never be a stay-at-home parent. This shit sucks. I just want to be back at work. And it's funny because it's coming both from people who have never taught, but even people that I know that are teachers. It's like just all day, like because they're like teaching online, but they're also like having to teach their kids. And I'm just like, Jesus.
I don't understand how you do both of those. If you got young kids that have to be doing that. Like my mom's gotta like read to her kids. They're kindergartners, so she doesn't but she's gotta do that stuff. And just the story she's told me about like kindergarten Zoom is just chaos.
Oh my God.
Chaos. Everybody's like, hey, hi. You're having to mute people left and right. Like everybody's trying to show you everything they have. It's show and tell.
Can she add me into a kindergarten Zoom?
I can probably get her to.
I just want to experience a kindergarten Zoom. I just want to see that chaos because it does sound like, oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Look, I have an Elsa doll. Check this out. This is cool. Oh, what are you doing? Are you eating? Brayden, are you eating? And it's like, I'm trying to talk. And she said she didn't like mute them for the first couple of times because everybody was just figuring it out. But she's like, now I'm having to mute people just because like you're not going to get anything done. Because a lot of people just think that it's like, it's hangout time.
Do the kids understand that like they can see their classmates and like talk and say hi and stuff? Do they understand that?
They do, but then they realize like, oh, I can just talk to whoever, whenever. And she's like, no. I'm
We
teaching
can
you.
hear
You have to pay.
we can hear you talking to Maria. Like you need to be
Right. Just chill out, Riley. Just chill out, man. We'll get to you. You can show everybody your Elsa doll here in a little bit. We got you. I promise you'll get to show it at the
But
end
it's
of this.
also like, imagine like all the things that like weird kindergartners do, and now they have like cameras. Like, okay, take your hand out of your pants. Stop. It's like just like that weird stuff. Oh my god, I just can't imagine like that. Like, oh my god, a classroom of kindergarten Zoom. At least they show up for it.
I'll tell my mom. Like, I got a friend of mine. It's a teacher. She wants to read to your class, and then you can read to the class and just watch.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I would love to read a children's book just to experience it.
Just like, okay, but you should interact with them, and then you get to like shut them down, like just like comedy again.
Yeah, I do my Zoom show, but I do it for kindergartners.
I would watch that though.
Yeah,
if you started,
you guys know about snacks? And they're just like, yeah.
It's snack time. What do we all got for snacks?
Yeah, everybody's showing. It's like when you do the Zoom happy hour with your friends. What are you drinking? All right, what's up?
That would be really funny.
You got goldfish?
Something there.
That'd be hilarious. Like, what is everybody snacking on? They're like holding up their snacks.
You should do that. Be like, I'll teach your kids if you don't want to have to do it during the day, and then you just do a very generalized lesson plan.
Put me on this 15 minutes with your kids, and I'll teach them something. Like, give me an objective. I'll think through it. I'll try to do it.
Look, if you send me 5 kids, I'll do 5 random bullet points from each thing you want me to teach them, and we're done.
Yeah,
I'm not going to promise you anything, but we'll cover something.
What else am I doing?
Well, we do a couple segments on my podcast every week. If you want to get a little weird with them, let me tell you about. Let me get some ads out of the way real fast. Dusty,
you do that. I'm gonna pour myself another bourbon.
You go do that. Southern Star Brewing Company, gang, the best beer in the entire world. I was talking to my buddy Keith out at Southern Star today, and he told me that they've even opened up the outdoor taps. You got to go up there one at a time, but they are being very, very safe. They're being socially distant, and that outside patio at Southern Star is humongous. So you'll be able to keep your distance. There you go. Dusty gets it. If you're not watching the video version, she's holding up a Southern Star koozie, which is, Southern Star was my favorite beer before we started the podcast. Pine Belt, yeah, R.I.P.
Buried Hatchet Stout is like my favorite thing.
Buried Hatchet is good. You can only have a couple though, because they'll fuck you up.
One and done, yeah.
But yeah, the Southern Star it was my favorite beer. Bombshell Blonde was my favorite beer in the world, and then we were drinking them one time, and they were like, "Oh, nice beer," and I was like, "That'd be tight if you guys wanted to hop on with this podcast." And then we did, and now we've been working with them for about over a year. And then I don't know if you've tried yet. They put the strawberry Bombshell Blonde.
Yes, I did have that. A neighbor had that the other day by the pool, and they offered me one, and I was like, "This is great." Love it.
My favorite beer. Like, I was a big Bombshell fan, and then I was like, I don't like fruit beers, and I was like, I like this fruit beer. This is my new favorite.
Now I do.
But yeah, so they are having the tap room is open. I don't have, or not the inside tap room. They have the outdoor like patio bar area. They are keeping everything socially distant, but they also do have beer to go. So if you want to support some local businesses, you can go pick them up. You can go get some Southern Star at Kroger, HEB, Total Wine, all your liquor stores, and all that. Like, that's where I got some the other day. And then
they're a supporter of local comedy. Jesse Saldana does a show there.
Every couple of Saturdays, right?
Yeah.
I've seen him a couple of times. Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Go Southern Star.
Yeah, Southern Star gets it. Those guys get it, and they really are supportive of like everything local. But they do have beer to pick to go. Like, if you want to go hang out with the guys up at Southern Star, and I keep telling you guys, take a picture of you with the gang from Southern Star, 6 feet apart. Keep your distance. Take your picture of your beer when you pick up that beer to go, and I will send you like at Pasquary Pod at Southern Star BC. I'm gonna send you a shirt. If you guys send me a picture of you guys up there at the brewery, I'll send you guys a PTG shirt.
Nice.
You can go get beer to go Thursdays noon to 6, Fridays and Saturdays noon to 7, and Sundays from noon to 6 as well. Thursdays noon to 6, Fridays and Saturdays noon to 7, and Sundays noon to 6 p.m. as well. That's at 3525 North Fraser Street up in Conroe. And also, it is an election year, which is very important. It's important to go out and vote. And the big decision that we have is not necessarily the presidential election, But which color bombshell blonde can we want? Do we want the red or the blue? I keep going back and forth. Have you seen how sexy this red can is?
Red is nice. It's very, and it goes along with like the pinup girl style.
Right? Yeah. But the blue, it's like
I love the blue. It's classic. Do I like the blue because I'm used to the blue?
That's what I've been fighting internally with every day. But bombshell2020.com, you can go and place your vote to see who you want to be, or which can you want the bombshell blonde girl to be on. Southern Star Brewing Company, the best beer in the entire world. If you're drinking a Southern Star while listening to Pass the Gravy, or drinking a Southern Star because of Pass the Gravy, hit us up and them at Pass the Gravy Pod. Tag them at Southern Star BC. All right, let's do a couple segments, then I'll do another ad, and then so we do a segment every week now called "What Would Jesus Do?" Okay. This was brought up. I was at a bachelor party, and I can't remember what I was talking to my friend about, but he was like, I wonder what Jesus would have done in that scenario. And I was like, that's a really good idea for a podcast segment.
Yo, there you go. See, you know exactly how I feel. When someone says something, you're like,
Yeah, right. So I was like, okay, well, this is a little problematic. We've had people quit like listening to us because they got upset. And I was like, look, I'm not, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Just let people have fun.
My Jesus would have been a funny guy, you know? I think he's got a sense
of humor.
Exactly. You're just playing around. So you throw Jesus into a situation, like a modern day situation, and hit us up on Twitter at PassGreatPod. Use the hashtag PTGWWJD. And my rule, Dusty, was like, we're only going to do this until you guys quit submitting things for us to answer.
Okay.
If you don't like it, they're going to stop submitting it. So this has been going on for over a year now, and it's working.
Love it. So people haven't stopped.
Yeah, they get it. They want to know what Jesus would do. I think we've all wondered that ever since those bracelets came
out. Yeah, ever since we found out about Jesus.
Ever since. So this is the What Would Jesus Do segment.
Jesus, what would Jesus do? Jesus, what would Jesus do? Put him in a situation in a modern time. If he wrote this jingle, do you think he'd make it rhyme? So think about this crazy world in which we live today, and how would Jesus handle it in any given way?
Our this week's What Would Jesus Do comes from our buddy Raymundo Benavidez at KMundoB on Twitter. Fun fact about Raymundo, he got Pass the Gravy on Royal Rumble. When Ric Flair's daughter was walking up into the ring, he was like front row, and he had a Pass the Gravy logo on a sign he made.
Oh, God, I love people that support like that. That's so cool.
That's pretty cool. So Raymundo's I always got Raymundo's back because of that. But Mundo says, if Jesus was a transformer, what would he transform into? Well, easy answer is cross, right? But like, he's not going to be a cross.
Yeah, he's not going to be a cross. Because I was thinking, I'm like, fish, wine.
Fish would be a good guess too.
Yeah.
He transforms other things into wine, though. He would not himself.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't transform himself into that. He would transform himself into palm leaves.
I feel like it'd be something dope, though.
Yeah, Jesus he would transform himself into God. What if that's his long con? He's like, him.
He just wants to live up to what his dad's expectations.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I just want to be my dad.
Pat McClellan and I were pitching we're on this podcast. We're not ever going to do it, but we were throwing around an idea. I was like, that'd be a funny TV show. Like, Jesus just kind of like, he's not really great at everything. He's trying to live up to his dad's expectations, but he can't ever quite do it. He's like a mediocre carpenter. So it's like, I mean, that chair was a little fucked up, Jesus, but like, I don't know, your dad's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess, like
we're trying to prove all the doubters wrong.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Jesus would be like, I'm talking like Harry Potter. What was it? Your Patronus? Like,
yeah.
What Patronus would Jesus have? Because I feel like it would be something like a lamb, something.
Ooh.
You know, like something Bible-y.
Bible-y. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lamb. You think he would transform? He'd go.
I don't think Jesus would transform into a lamb. I don't know. I'm talking myself out of it now.
What if this is a good one. Jesus transforms into
because it's got to be something that could fuck you up, but like it doesn't. You know, like it has the ability to, like a dog. Jesus would be a dog. Jesus would 100% be a dog.
I think he already did that. That was Sam's whole thing.
Okay, well, maybe Jesus would bring that back. He'd bring it back. It was so successful.
Yeah, I like him transforming into like random objects, like just
A burning
Yeah,
bush
exactly.
again?
A burning. Yeah, he's like, it's like, Jesus, you've already done this. Like, this is hack Jesus.
Oh my God, everybody
The
knows
bush
it's
again.
you.
This is old bits. Why don't you try something new, Jesus? Like,
What, you're gonna cure a leper next time? Cool, dude.
yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. What if he transformed into one of those like hedges that's shaped like him? Like it was.
Oh.
He's like, I'm a Jesus-shaped hedge, and we're like, yeah, okay. He's like, me and Edward Scissorhands. We're like this.
What if he just transformed into Christ the Redeemer, the statue? And it was like, dude, you transformed into yourself, bro?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He transformed specifically into the Christ statue from Madonna's Like a Prayer.
I think we found it.
That requires two things. He has to time travel and
right.
into a thing. That's like, it's like Jesus. Just
if JC can do it, like if anybody can, it's JC though.
It's like, what a try hard, but okay.
So yeah, he's a Christ statue from Madonna's.
Yeah. What if he like transformed into like something like he's like, I'm gonna be Megan Thee Stallion's left butt cheek. That's what I'm gonna transform into. So
I mean, I'd get it. I get it.
Something about her left. I mean, everything's nice.
I mean, the right one's good, but it's that left one just pops.
That left one it's like it's speaking to me.
Like she's doing a little bit more work on that left side. I feel like maybe she leaves the left a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is she left-legged or left-handed? I don't know. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty good WWJD. A lot of people don't like. Some people have been thrown off with that, but you get it. You're more in that.
Okay.
Okay. Another segment we do is the not cool segment, and that is really when I was trying to fill an hour when I first started this podcast a couple years ago. I was like, well, I bitch about a lot of things. What if I just vented, and that'll help me fill an hour? And so it's actually become like therapeutic. And now I'm doing 2 episodes a week while we're in quarantine. So it's like I get to bitch about 2 things, and this is great. And I'll start first if you want to think of one.
Yeah.
And then we'll hear yours. But this is the not cool segment.
Not cool, man. Dude, that's not cool.
Not cool. Not cool.
Dude, that's not cool. That's not cool, man. Dude, that's not cool.
Not cool. Not cool.
Dude, that's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool.
All right, my not cool is going to the eye doctor. I'm anti everything around my eyes. I can't wear contacts. I have glasses, but I don't wear them. And I had to go to the eye doctor, and it only took them 4 times for the little eye puff, like the little puff of air that they put, like, because you usually would get me once, but I knew what was coming, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So, and they're like, you gotta stop. And everybody's wearing masks. So like, I know that like, everybody's like all like sweating on their faces are all sweating. And she's probably like, just hurry up, dude. Just hurry up and just look into the damn thing. And I was like, okay. Like they're putting stuff in my like eyelids and like, I don't know. I don't like anything around my eye. It's the absolute like worst thing ever. And yeah, going to the eye doctor sucks. It was the first like eye exam I've had in like 5 years.
Yeah.
I got a corneal abrasion a couple like last year. I was at a bar, and my friend turned around and I turned around at the same time, and his hat hit me in the eye, and my eye swole up, and I was like, I don't think this is good, and went in, and I had to wear sunglasses for a week, and then they're like, well, this could recur.
Everyone thought you were a douche indoors.
Oh, they totally did. They totally thought I was. But like I had to wear like 2 sets of sunglasses. I wore my regular sunglasses, and then I wore like the like old man like side sunglasses too. And like it was embarrassing, but like I got through it. I'm an eye injury survivor. James Harden went through it, and I was like, yo, bro, as an eye injury survivor, I'd like to offer you some advice. He didn't take it, but I offered it to him on Twitter. And then a couple of weeks ago, I woke up, and when I opened my eye, I think my eyes were dry, and the top of my eyelid just stuck to it and just ripped everything back off again.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that was fun. And they were like, oh, it's called reoccurring corneal erosion, I think. So it's like, yeah, if I don't treat my dry eyes, it's going to happen again and again and again and again.
Both things you had sound like they could be like heavy metal bands. Or cranial erosion.
That does sound like. I'm just going to write that down. All right. Good to know. I'll give you credit on like not our hits, but like, some deep tracks. So yeah, going to the eye doctor is not cool. I just hate it. It may not be everybody's not cool, but it's just, that made me say, hey, that's not cool, man.
Yeah. Not cool. Yeah. Man, I have 2.
All right.
First one, having a car. I hate having to have a car. I have to have one, but I hate everything
Right.
having a car. I'm bad at oil changes. I fucking hate getting gas.
Ooh, yeah.
Gas is not even hard, but I'm the like, it's just like whenever I have to, I'm like, just fuck. You know, having to keep it clean. The fact that cars are like a status symbol. I don't give a fuck. I have a car right now. I had to get a new car last year because my other car died. My car right now, we went to go get one. My parents like were helping me like just get the initial payment down, you know, the whole spiel. Why parents exist. That
Right.
made me feel like an asshole because I'm like, why can I not just afford a car? You know, whatever.
I'm in that same boat.
Getting the car. My car is manual locks, manual windows. Okay, which is fine. I don't give a fuck. I hate that that's a thing. But what's funny about it? Manual locks, manual windows. But you know what? Center console, rear view camera, touch screen, Bluetooth. It's like. I'm like, what do consumers value right now that I'm doing this, but I can just play music off my phone and I get text messages read to me by my car. Like
That is crazy.
yeah, and I just like it, like everything about, and it just made them cars annoy me even more because it's everything. I hate driving. I hate all of it. Cars.
Traffic is the worst. Pretty much everything that goes with cars is
isn't
the
cool.
worst.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big car guy either. I drive a Ford Focus. I got like my senior year in college.
But it gets you to where you need to go.
Yeah, good gas mileage. I don't got to stop by the gas station too often.
Yeah, I have like a Nissan Versa, and I remember going to get it, and like we're at the place, and my dad's like, "Well, do you want to test drive it?" I'm like, "Why the fuck do I need to test drive a Nissan Versa?"
Yeah, I see it. I'm not scared. I don't know how. I don't need to know how fast it goes 0 to 60.
I was like, "No." My dad's like, "Can you just? This is what you do. Just do
Can I
it."
race it?
Nah, but I was just like, this is so dumb. But I was like, okay, I'll drive it. All right, it's a car. Can I get it and leave already? Like, why does this take so long? Like, also just how long it takes to get a car. Why does it? I feel like car people think you're going to change your mind at some point.
Yeah.
Or they think making you wait longer is going to make you want more car stuff. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, why is this such a hard transaction? If we came in ready, like, this is the car we want, can we leave? And then like they have to walk you through all this bullshit. Like the guy was like, I have to tell you this, we're like legally obligated. He has to tell me about the warranty or whatever. But then he's trying to get us to up the warranty. And he's like, even my guys in the shop want. I'm like, you're legally obligated to tell us about the guys in the shop and what they want. Fuck off, bro. Like, can you give it? Just give it.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want all the extra bullshit. Just give me the car and I'm gonna leave. Like just like, and I feel bad for him because I'm annoyed, and it's not his fault that he sells cars. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. I hate buying, like the whole car buying process was such a pain in the ass. I'm like, my dad was really helping me through like when I did that. Like I was graduating college when that all happened, so I used like a lot of like the money I had saved up and everything. But like I just hated the process of that little amount of it that I had to do.
Yeah.
Where like so I'm not great at like fixing cars either, and I thought I was putting water in a radiator and was putting water in my engine because I looked at the wrong YouTube video and the radiator was in a different area on a different focus. And then I started it and my car just broke. And so just broke. It wasn't great. It just started. It was like no, and then all the water started shooting up, and I was like, that's not good. And then it turned off and wouldn't turn back on. And then they're like, yeah, we drained like 3 gallons of water out of it. Like I thought it was a radiator. That's why you had so many gallons of water in there.
That's.
And I was like in an apartment, so I had to keep like going with like a milk jug I was filling up, and I'd like go up 3 flights of stairs, come back 3 flights of stairs, pour that, then go back up. Like I did like 10 times, and I was like, man, like I'm just glad this was a quick fix. Nope. So like instead of, my dad was like, well, you can like get a brand new like motor or engine, or we can like figure out another car that you want to go get, and you can start putting payments on that. And I had just paid the car off like within that year. I was like,
oh my God, you're like,
buy a new engine. I don't give a fuck.
Stop putting payments on that. Not any water. We're good.
So it was like $5,000 left. I got a brand new engine for the same car, and I was like, cool, I don't care. Just tell me, like, it's like I got a new car, but it's the same car, and it's still as dirty, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, cars fucking suck. Owning a car does suck, but it's nice that you have a car, at least.
Yes, like you need one. I think that's like it's like this resentment I have where I'm just like
Because Houston can't build any sort of public transportation that's worth
it. Like I have to use you to get to work. It's the way of life.
Like I'm in the gallery right now and they have these like bus lanes that they're making before this whole thing went down.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's just like it just looks like it's just a lane for a bus that's supposed to be like a train lane. And I'm like, I don't think this is gonna work at all. This still sees lights. Like, what are you guys doing?
My car is a small bus.
I'll just do that and I can leave when I want to.
Put a sticker on your car that just says small bus.
Maybe you can get some tax breaks.
If it works. Somebody's like, sir, do you know why I pulled you over? Probably because you missed that sticker on my bumper.
Can't pull over bus drivers. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, pretty sure, buddy.
Have a Metro uniform in your car just in case this happens.
It's just a white hat I write Metro on the front of.
Yeah, it's like in Sharpie. It's not.
You crossed out an Astros logo.
Yeah.
An Astros hat there. So you said you had two knuckles. Your car, or owning a car was one.
Yeah, that was a good one though.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. The other thing that I hate, and this is like a recent complaint because of a neighbor, loud sex. Overly loud sex. Like I get it if you're vocal, that's fine. But I feel like you can reach a certain point of volume where it's like,
we get it.
That's not real. Yeah. And it's like, I'm just like, and how is that enjoyable for the other person? And, but I also like more so because like, I guess it's like like it's mostly women that do that. But I guess like I was trying to lap on my pool and one of my neighbors who were dating were just she was so loud. Like you could hear her from the pool from inside their apartment. And I was like, you're a try-hard. Like this is so obnoxious. But then in my mind too, can you imagine if like a dude was loud at sex? Like for me, like it's not, I can't imagine if some guy was just yelling about that. I'd be like, because I like in my mind, if some guy was doing that, I'd be like, you gotta go. Like,
I can't take this serious.
Like, because I get that it's like validation for a guy, but I was like talking to male friends about this, and they're like, no, you can be too loud and it can be annoying. Like you can be just like, come on, just lower the volume. But loud sex, especially when you live in an apartment where people can hear you. Like, tell me.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I dated a girl in college that had a roommate that like, have you seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Yes.
Where she's like they're trying to have like revenge sex on each other or whatever.
Yeah,
it is. And she's like smashing her hand on the wall. And it was like that. And it's like, there's 3 other people that live here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like we don't just like, people don't, and like, so somebody like, what's up with that? She's like, I didn't know anybody was paying attention. It's like, it was hard not to.
Yeah, we're not paying attention. We're not eavesdropping.
You might as well have just broadcast it at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like just put it in like just Bluetooth yourself to the speakers. Like we don't need to hear you.
And it's like, hey, that is funny though. It's always interesting because you're like, oh, nice, so and so's getting it. But then like the 3rd, 4th time, you're like, all right, just chill out. Just chill.
Yeah,
because it's an unpleasant
I get
experience.
it like every now and then where you hear something like somebody like you know, I've been loud during sex before, but not continuously for like 10 to 15 minutes every time I had sex. Like I'm like, that's an act. Like
somebody watched porn. And
yeah, exactly. If
I
was a guy and I was having sex with a girl that was that loud the whole time, I would begin to think like, is my dick small? Like, am I not good at sex? Like, cause I immediately would think that. I would not go to like, yeah, I'm good at this. Like I would immediately be like, this is a little much.
I would just be like, well, no one's ever made noise like that for me ever in my entire life. You're doing something wrong because usually she's just looking at me with a face of disappointment. And
yeah, exactly.
You're putting on an act right now. I don't buy it.
That's so funny.
So those are 2 really good not cools.
All right.
Those are 2 pretty good not cools. One last ad before we get to the last segment is the next segment is answers. And if you got a smelly car, a smelly home, I got an answer for you. It's Little M Air Fresheners, the best air fresheners in the whole world. If you're one of the lucky ones who can still go shopping online right now, then go and check out littlemshop.com. That's littlemshop.com. All orders are 20% off until further notice when you use the code HOMEBODY at checkout. And as always, free shipping when you spend $10 or less. That's like you buy 5 air fresheners, you get free shipping. Why wouldn't you do that? You can send a couple to your friends because like I know you're missing your friends, so send them some stuff like, hey, miss you, sorry I can't be around you because of social distancing, but here's a little air freshener, you stink. Great idea. And then a little life hack I have is we put one of the air fresheners in the bottom of the trash can we have in our kitchen, and then like between the trash can and the bag, because then sometimes you pull out a bag, like, oh, it smells, but then you get a nice little whiff of, ooh, it's an air freshener right there. That smells nice. So it's a little life hack for you guys out there.
Yeah. Also, if you live in an apartment with a window unit, put one in front of your window unit, and then your whole apartment smells better.
Boom. Even more life hacks.
Yeah.
Life hacks all over.
We're hacking up life.
Watch out, life. You're getting hacked.
Yeah.
They have lots of low-priced items that are both fun and useful air fresheners to freshen up not only your car, but any space you have. I know a lot of you guys have those smelly homes, like I said earlier. They have hand-painted journals to document this crazy time that we live in, prints to decorate your new home office, and stickers to give to your kids to shut them the fuck up. LittleMShop.com. That's LittleEMShop.com. 20% off with the code HOMEBODY and free shipping on orders of $10 or more. LittleMShop.com. LittleEMShop.com for the best air fresheners in the whole world. All right, this is our final segment that we do. It's my favorite one we do every week, and this actually goes back to speaking of being a teacher. This goes back to in third grade. One of those things I was saying, like, it always sticks with you. And I remember I was in Miss Winter's third grade class at Far Elementary in Lawrenceville, Georgia. And she said, I don't remember what we were talking about. I don't remember what I asked. I just remember she said, class, there's no such thing as a stupid question. My hand shot up because I was like, good. Whatever this is has been weighing on me. So I'm going to ask. I asked them about whatever we were learning about.
I love that you saw that as a prompt to finally ask this question.
Thank God. Thank God. Yeah, I was like, this is dumb.
So funny.
And so she gave me all the confidence in the world I needed. I shot my hand. I was like, good. I can finally ask whatever this is that I feel dumb about asking. And everybody laughed at me. And you just remember at that point, be like, well, she just told me that wouldn't happen. So I told myself then, I was like, one day, dude, you'll be in charge. And you'll make sure there's no such thing as a stupid question. And I never got put in charge because I was never, like, talented enough. So I started a podcast. And I put myself in charge because nobody else was. And I was like, you know what? This is my time to say I'm in charge, and I'll exercise that. And I was like, guys, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you have any like high thought you got a thought in the shower that comes to you, you see something on a billboard online, you're like, I wonder what the gang at Pass the Gravy would have to say that. Hit us up on Twitter at Pass the Gravy Pod. Use the hashtag PTG Answers, and we'll get to all of your questions. If you're not a Twitter guy or gal or whatever you identify as, go over to the email answers@passthegravypod.com. That's how we get to them, although we do check the Twitter first, but your emails have really been getting to because we've been doing 2 episodes a week. So let's get to the answers segment now.
Well, if you just answered the question, why don't you just answer the question? Be honest, no big deal. Yeah, answer the question.
Don't change the subject, just answer the fucking question.
Any questions?
Our first answers question this week comes from my buddy Brandon Whitehead at Brando Whitehead on Twitter. And he says, is fencing the perfect COVID-19 sport? Everyone is wearing masks and gloves, and if anybody gets closer than 6 feet to one another, they get stabbed.
Ooh.
I mean, it seems like it might be the perfect.
It's the best way to reinforce the rules.
Right. Maybe we need to start doing that. Like, if you got stabbed if you went out and you broke social distancing, maybe we all just need those, like, fencing swords.
You just got, you did,
hey,
exactly.
Back off, bud.
Yeah.
Not so close.
That. Jousting, also, though.
Jousting's tight. Why isn't jousting a real sport? Like, I get it's, like, exactly. Brutal. Like, I would watch jousting.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to Medieval Times?
I just have to go to the Ren Fest to see jousting.
Yeah. It should be a professional jousting league. The PJL.
Why are not jousting fields at Memorial Park? Jousting. So I'm going to
say. If there were jousting fields, I'd be doing that all the time.
Not the best one. Jousting, definitely the best one.
Jousting is, yeah. Yeah, and you get to be on a horse, which is always badass.
Yes, exactly. You feel cooler. You don't have to, like, lunge. And you can also, like, and your mask looks cooler. It's like metal.
Fuck,
you don't look like you, like, just care for bumblebees and then do a sport on the side. You're like, no, this is not joust.
It is, like, I feel like fencing was just like a beekeeper that's like, I want to play swords with my friends.
Exactly. But I have to immediately be able to attend to the bees.
But sometimes they need me.
That didn't want his bees to think he played a sport.
The bees, they get jealous.
The bees are for you. Were you jousting again? How did you even know the word for it? Like,
You're a bee. How do you communicate with me?
Notice that jousting has the word sting in it. I think we're on to something.
I think so too. Do you want to start? Let's start a professional jousting league.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be it. I want to be like the manager of the jousting.
The Dana White of that.
Why can't I think of his name? What's the boxing guy with like the crazy hair?
Don King.
Yeah, I want to be the Don King of jousting.
I like that. The hype lady. You could be the hype lady.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want him to say like weird shit. You know, like when boxers, like when Mike Tyson said all that weird stuff before the fight. You know, it's like a jouster. It's just like, I'm gonna joust so hard, you're gonna want me to put a ring on your finger. It's like, what?
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I guess.
I would watch the fuck out of jousting.
Cookies for me. What?
I guess, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's it. So jousting.
Jousting is 100%. Like, fencing is a good one, Brandon. That was a good idea.
Brandon. I'm not hating on you, Brandon.
Started that train rolling, you know?
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
what you're doing.
So thank you, Brandon. See, not a bad question. Got us
if jousting's not available, then maybe fencing, okay?
Technically, when they fall off their horses, they're kind of then jousting.
Or fencing, yeah.
Fencing, I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say.
I just want to watch. I'm going to, like, you know what I'm doing after this podcast? I'm going to just go to YouTube jousting, and that's all I'm going to do.
I think there's a documentary about it you can watch.
Which is like, is there any skill in jousting, or is it just whoever's horse gets there kind of fastest?
Yeah, like because it's like how you hold the sword. Yeah, exactly. How fast your horse can
go. So I lean forward?
Yeah. Is it leaning back? Is it like some sort of like JFK situations, like back and to the right? And like, like the jousting.
I like that. So jousting, definitely the official sport of COVID-19.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking about that. I'm glad we finally could provide them with it.
Yeah.
This next question comes from Todd Voss. He actually won our Gravies Award for MVP last year. We do that at the end of the year every year. @as_scene_by_TV is Todd Voss. And he says, how did the Super Nintendo get its powers?
I'm going to go with it's a mix of fireballs.
Fireballs.
The Super Nintendo just drank fireball.
Maybe. I mean, I felt superhuman.
That's the Nintendo thing. It just did a bunch of fireball shots, and it was like Mario uses fireballs. I drank fireball.
I threw up in an Uber after drinking too much fireball. That was like the last time I was really a big fireball guy.
It's like I made a Yoshi. That's what happened. How did Super? Yeah, that's.
I would say electricity.
Yeah, electricity would be one.
Electricity is a big one.
What if someone, like, it happened where there was a glitch in a regular Nintendo, and someone actually saved 2 princesses in the castle, and then the Nintendo didn't know what to do. It's like what? And then the Nintendo just like, and then that's what happened.
It just morphed. That's how I thought the N64 was made.
Actually, Super Nintendo is just what Jesus transformed into.
Fuck. Yeah. Yeah, I take back what we said for what would Jesus do. It is now a Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo's badass. It's nice and nostalgic. You're like, I remember going to church when I was a kid. Also, this was a fun game. I loved Donkey Kong.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Donkey Kong was the best Super Nintendo game. I don't know if you were big into Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Donkey Kong was. Agreed. Love Donkey Kong. I have a side story. Like,
Let's go.
So when I worked at school, obviously, what would happen a lot of times if we taught, this was at the school I used to work at, if we had kids that got caught doing something wrong and the administration didn't know what they were, they would send these screenshots or these like stills from the security camera, you know, like what would happen. And my sister and I both worked at the same campus. And so what we would do is we would take that still and then Photoshop it. My sister one time made my favorite one where it was these 2 kids. We had these like banks of lockers, but our whole campus was like outdoors. So it was just these like banks of like lockers that almost were like long columns. You know what I mean? Like small walls. Yeah. But these kids were walking by lockers, and so they send out the thing like, can you identify these kids? And my sister, like 30 minutes later, 20 minutes later, whatever, comes back at them and she's like, I don't know, but I think that guy up there is going to take care of them. And it's Donkey Kong like running across the top of the locker with a barrel. There was another one where it's like kids walking around the corner and like know this kid, and I like Photoshop sent it back, and I was like, I don't know, but I think that guy in the corner is going to take care of him. And it was just Batman like standing there. It's like we used to fuck with our administration all the time that way, and I loved it.
That's like one of my favorite things to do. Like Photoshop is like one of the greatest inventions of all time, just because like it derails so much. It's like it's chaotic, but it's also like funny to me. Where it's like I saw those guys were like some guys were protesting this weekend at one of those like let me be outside and breathe all over everybody things.
Yeah.
And they like had like signs, and somebody photoshopped out of that. They just made them holding dildos in their hand. And it's like
yeah, exactly.
Like what are you doing, dick
like,
boy? What's going on over there?
Yeah, even like shitty Photoshop is still funny.
Yeah.
Like, ours aren't even good, but it was like you get it.
Did they like? What did they say? Like, was it just you?
Oh,
and
they
your
would
sister
always
going back and forth?
it was almost like they expected it. Like I remember one time they sent one out, and I was like, I actually had a class when they sent it out, and I checked my email after the class had ended, and like one of the admins was like, "Oh, you don't got nothing to say on this one, Rhodes?" And I was like, "No, I don't have my off period until 6." Trust me, I'll get to it. But it was like my sister and I were always like just like immediately like we would send it to people. It was very entertaining.
Did you ever like get like that'd be funny if they pulled the kid in and like, look, I understand you're hanging out with some bad people over here, and it's just Donkey Kong. They're like, do you know this fella over here, bud?
Yeah, there was this one with a kid that had like a Ninja Turtle backpack. Like it was one of the things that shaped like a turtle, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I just
Get the shell.
I just had Splinter, and I was like, I think he just needs to talk to this guy real quick. Sort of out.
He came here with a purpose, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a hall pass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was good.
One time it was me, and I was like Obi-Wan, and I just put, these aren't the kids you're actually looking for. They're just like, it was fun.
Your mails were probably the ones that like, all right, good. Let's just see what they said. Oh, no, never.
Yeah. I always loved the couple of times where I didn't just send it to the admin, I sent it to all staff because I hit reply all. And it was like, because I usually would just send it to the one person and my sister, but there would be, I just hit reply all and I wasn't thinking, and I sent it out to everybody. And I always loved the staff that you could tell, like people that suck and they just like don't enjoy humor, and they're like, Dusty's email seems inappropriate. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like,
oh, you got offended and I'm not?
Yeah.
That's because I'm
it's
happier
like I
than
want to
you.
reply to the email and just put, remember Joy?
Ever heard of it?
You remember it? It was a thing back.
You should try it sometime. I think you'd like it.
Exactly.
There are people like that, like with the, like I know that what's her face set up that like snitch hotline for if you see businesses breaking the rules, and it's like I get like we're supposed to follow rules, but it's also like don't be like the tattletale. Like you're all just being tattletales now.
The Chronicle put out that report of like the number of things of like we saw this or we saw this, and I'm like, remember minding your business.
You ever heard what snitches? You guys know what happens to snitches?
Yeah.
I was always raised in a culture.
Yeah, I feel bad because I'm just like, if people if I get it. Like, I'm not like condoning those practices, but it's also like, stop trying to control everything. Like, that's, I don't know, fruitless endeavor. Like,
I don't know if, I don't know how big, I know you're a big baseball fan, and I think you're a Packers fan, right?
Yeah.
We have, we actually do,
my whole family's from Wisconsin, so.
Okay. We actually make Packers shirts for I'll send you one.
I've never made a Packers dress or skirt, actually, which is crazy. I don't know why. I have tons of Packers fabric, but it's more so that I'm a Jersey girl. Like I want jersey, but like I like wearing my Rodgers jersey. That's like a thing for me. So I'm like, and a jersey with a skirt just seems weird. Like I don't like that look.
Have you ordered your Love jersey yet?
Oh, no.
Are you upset?
I like him, and I'm excited about him. And I'm always excited because, like, I think that Packers always make great decisions when it comes to who's going to be our next up-and-coming QB. And, like, I think he's going to be fantastic. And, like, I love Rodgers. I'm Rodgers till I die. I think he's one of the best QBs to ever play the game. I love him.
You like him more than Favre?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a dividing factor.
Right. I would imagine.
My parents have a portrait of Favre above their bed in their bedroom. That is how Green Bay Packers my family is. Like, but I am Rodgers till I die. I love him.
Well, my co-host is like a diehard. He's a Packers owner, and like all like his whole family are diehard Packers
Damn,
fans.
does he go to the Packers? One of the Packers bars?
No, he's a drunk that just goes to his own like bar next to his house, and
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but
Well,
if you hit him up, he'd be down.
If he ever wants to come to Cheddarhead Pack North once this is all over, he officially has an invite from me. So
Okay.
he should come too. It's really fun. I brought like Bears fans. I've brought like an Eagles fan. I've brought a like Vikings fan, but like it's just fun. Like, and it's all in good spirits. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's a fun thing to do. They have like a DJ. They play songs every time we get a first down or stop a first down or get a touchdown. And it's just fun. Like, it's a fun atmosphere. I don't want to do it every Sunday, but I do it about every other Sunday.
Yeah. I've been, like I told you, I'm working on these anger things with football. So it's like sometimes I need to just watch football by myself in my apartment where I can't embarrass myself anymore. Like I've got Buffalo Wild Wings off of Rice. The new miracle at the Meadowlands, Deshaun Jackson returned to kickoff, beat the Giants. They had come back from like 20 down. I flipped a table. Didn't realize I flipped it until it was done. It wasn't a big table. It was one of those like bar tables, like the round one.
Yeah.
Like, and there was just like a water on it because I was getting ready to leave. But they were like, out. And I was like, oh, I got it.
I should leave.
No, you know what? That was on me. Should have done that. Good call. I overreacted. If I could rewind that, I would, but I can't. So I'm just gonna go home.
I love that this entire conversation stemmed from the question about Super Nintendo.
That's how this whole podcast goes. That's 100%. Our producer, like the joke between me and Pat, that co-host it, is like Robert is always just like, guys, just hurry the fuck up. Like and like we're gonna talk about dogs, but also let's talk about the NFL draft for 3 hours. And he's like, how? You were talking about ladybugs, and now you're over here talking dinosaurs? What?
It's a podcast. We can do whatever we can do.
Yeah, but I'll get your info after this, and I'll send you one of our Paskers shirts. It's just got a logo with cheese on it, but that's pretty much That's pretty much it.
Awesome.
Okay, our next question comes from our buddy Jingle Blake Wonder. He makes jingles for us. He made our WWJD jingle. That you didn't get to hear it because I put that in.
Nice.
But Jingle Blake says, is almost everything a good boomerang if you throw it vertically? Okay, now here's another thing. We got to explain. There's a lot of inside stuff going on in Pastor Gravy. So anything that you can put a handle on in the Pastor Gravy world is a ladle, regardless if it's a good ladle or a bad ladle. That's up for debate. You know, like if you put a handle on this pen, it's a ladle. It's a shitty ladle, but it's a ladle nonetheless.
Okay, I got you.
And thinking along that way, anything that you throw is a boomerang. Whether or not it's a good boomerang determines on if it comes back to you.
Oh, okay.
Now, Pat hates this, so Pat does not like this.
Boomerang. It's just if it's thrown vertically.
Right. Yeah, like the actual boomerang. So I guess Blake's saying is anything that you throw up a good boomerang if you throw it vertically, because it does come back to you. And I would have to say yes. I think maybe it is.
Yeah, because it all is gonna. Because what would you throw up other than a balloon full of helium?
So more things than not, I would say would be good.
Yeah, then that's like the only thing I could name that wouldn't be a good boomerang. So that's a great point.
Like a feather probably would be a pretty shitty boomerang. It'd be all over the place, but it might come back to you. It just depends.
Yeah, unless you have patience. A feather boomerang that teaches you patience. So might be a boomerang we didn't ask for, but we need.
It's build your character. This is it's a life lesson for you as well as a fantastic.
Also, I never
boomerang.
realized that babies were such great boomerangs. It's like
oh yeah, and they love it, and you're just playing with it.
They smile unless they've just eaten and they throw up on you. They're great boomerangs.
Sometimes they're laughing. They're having the greatest time ever being a boomerang.
It's amazing. They don't even
That's another good question. Are babies the happiest boomerangs? Probably.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah, exactly.
So Pat hates the boomerang idea, and every time, like, people just every week send in boomerang theories.
Oh, Pat McClellan?
No, my friend Pat is my co-host as well.
You're Pat, your co-host.
Yeah, we have a lot of Pats we deal with. We have a lot of Pats.
There's a lot of Pats. Pat, I hope he doesn't like the boomerang idea. Wow.
Pat McClellan he just focused on like ghosts and ghouls and
that's sort of his thing.
And Snake City. I don't know if you invested in Snake City, but I spent a fortune. Saw absolutely no return. Huh. All that money down the drain, and he's still like, no, we just got a new complex we're putting. I'm like, no, Pat, it's not happening.
No, Pat, Snake City's not happening.
Snake City is not hip, dude. It's a bad news.
What's the what? Here's a question. What's the scariest boomerang? The thing you throw up that's going to come back to you. A snake would be kind of terrifying.
Okay, so like I was gonna talk about this on my podcast I'm recording tomorrow. That's like the Wednesday one, but I don't give a fuck. Murder hornets are not fucking bad. They're not bad boomerangs, or they're shitty boomerangs. Because a murder hornet, I'm not fucking scared of. Are you scared of murder hornets?
I wish
I'll fuck it up, dude. I'll fuck up a murder hornet. Give me a murder hornet. I got a book in my hand, and I'll fucking swat the fuck out of it.
Yeah, you just swat it. Well, because it's also like when people were like, killer bees are the next worst thing, and I'm like, other than my girl.
Who is allergic to it. Thomas J was allergic to bees.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, because I remember being terrified when I was younger. I was like, killer bees are a thing. And then it never happened. Like, I never saw it happen. I mean, it happened.
Killer bees and quicksand. I thought I was going to run into a lot more in my life. Never did.
Where does quicksand exist? Where is it? Like,
I don't know if it's a real thing.
I want to look up that. That's what I want at a zoo. I just want quicksand. And I want them to give that little they do of the animals where, like, regionally it's located, you know? Where do you find quicksand?
But like it was in every movie, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I was like, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get out of this thing. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a problem when I'm older.
Yeah. Wherever the kid from Neverending Story takes his horse, that's where quicksand.
I want to know. And Jumanji had quicksand, all that shit.
Oh, yeah, Jumanji. Yeah, but like I'm just like, where does it Because I like, it's a thing? There's a dumb question for you. Like, is it?
There's no such thing. No such thing.
But like, where regionally, where does quicksand happen?
I bet I can find out if I just.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is just,
Let's just do a research portion.
Let me go to my research department.
Yeah. Just like where, because like you like. I could like, is it swampy areas?
If
like,
I type in where is Q, quicksand is the first thing that pops up. So we're not the only people asking this question.
Unless your computer heard you. Ooh.
Which it probably did.
It's like, I'm just trying to help you out.
Okay, it can be found in places. Well, this is not a fucking answer. It can be found in places where there is grainy soil, including riverbanks, marshes, lake. No, I need locations.
Where is some research this number of quicksand deaths a year.
All right. Quicksand deaths per year. See, a lot of people are asking things about quicksand. We're not crazy.
We aren't the first.
All right. The extremely rare quicksand case, which previously went unreported by news outlets, the only one of its kind in the last 5 years in Texas, according to reports detailing 580 deaths that occurred on rivers and lakes. They have one in Texas.
But there is one in Texas.
There's quicksand. Let's go to quicksand and just fuck it up. Just fuck up some quicksand.
Yeah.
One guy's died in the last 5 years. Our odds are great. One of us is not going to die. So then the other one can just go tell the tale.
We're good. We're quicksand. Yeah. Okay. So
we'll make a pact. We'll write a book deal. It'll be fine. Whoever survives. Yeah. And then in the event we both survive, we both profit off of it. Or we have to kill one another. Yeah. One of us has to kill each other.
I wonder if the family members of the quicksand guy are like done talking to reporters about his death. Oh, it's the reporters again. I want to know about John's death again.
Like, God damn it, John. Why'd you have to die in quicksand? This isn't Indiana Jones. It says it's in South California. There's got some as well. I don't know. Quicksand. If you get anybody that's seen some quicksand, hit us up at Pastor Gay Pod. At Lady Apron. I haven't given your social. Lady Apron. Fantastic handle.
Thank you.
Follow Dusty on Instagram and Twitter at Lady Apron on both, correct?
Yes.
All right. So quicksand. Yeah. That's see again. We got talking about quicksand from boomerangs. The most deadly boomerang would probably be like lava. You can't like touch it.
Yeah, fire. Well, fire. Juggle fire.
Oh yeah, dude, juggling fire is crazy.
Yeah.
I can't. Can you juggle? I can't juggle. I can do the two balls.
I can juggle.
I can't do the. I can do the two on the one hand. I can do it, but then I can't add the third.
Should I juggle for your show?
Maybe.
I have limes.
Do it. Now you
Did
have
you say
to.
Maybe no?
Well, I was like, I didn't know if you were like I have limes. I was like, well, now she's got props.
Let's do this.
So this is a good reason to watch the video version of the podcast, guys.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why you go check it out.
The whole premise is just us doing stuff that they have to see. I don't think I've ever juggled sitting down. So hold on, it's taking a second. Here we go.
You could just do the Will Ferrell bit on The Office where you just pretend you're juggling.
Yeah, there we go.
See, that is actually really good. She juggled the fuck out of those limes.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. Yeah.
That's a first in 346 episodes. We've never had anybody juggle on the podcast. So
juggling, a great
breaking boundaries right now. Look at us. Where were you when we had the first juggler on Passive Gravy podcast history? This is gonna go down in the history books, guys.
This episode will forever be known as Juggle the Gravy.
And yeah, it's gonna be now. You're fun, man. You're fun because you just like roll with it. No, I can do this. Like, I like that.
That's teaching. It's like,
yeah.
What's happening now? Okay, yeah, I'll just do that. Then.
Cool, I got this. Do you juggle in front of your class?
Yeah, I do it because like when I walk around and they're doing stuff and I'm bored, like I'm probably the biggest distractor of my students because I have ADHD, which is why teaching is great because it's like you're 1 minute, student's like, answer this question. And the student's like, I need this question answered. So for me, some people that looks terrifying, but for me, my brain is like, this is what we were made for. And so
it's your time.
But yeah, but when they're like doing, like they're testing and they're doing stuff and I'm just like fidgety, I'll just walk around the room and juggle, or like I have a soccer ball in my class and I'll just like kick it around the room as long as like I'm not making noise, but I'm just like, I can't. I can't just walk and not. It's too much stuff. Yeah.
Do you take any medication for ADHD at all?
No, I used to when I was younger, but I don't anymore. It's not so bad anymore. Like I'm not bad. Like it's more now. Like self-regulation is a lot easier for me now than it was when I was like younger. But I don't take anything now.
I've taken like when I was like 5, I started taking Ritalin because
I took Ritalin when I was younger, and then my parents were like, "We don't like this version of our daughter," and so they took me off it. And then I went to counseling, which is like a weird thing. I don't think counseling's right. I think counseling's great. It was just weird for me, like, oh, yeah, you want to talk to somebody? I'll talk to somebody. I want to talk to someone. I don't know why it matters, but like now it's a lot easier, and it's about just like learning control. But it still has its like issues. Like
I never like weaned off any of that. Like I do Adderall now, and like I remember like in college, like if I would take, if I would forget to take my Adderall, I'd be like, I'm not taking notes today. Like there goes my day. Like I'm like I can tell when I forget it, and like if I don't fill my prescription in time or whatever, it's like, oh God, this is 2 days where I'm just gonna be like, like it's noticeable. It's noticeable. And there's like I would have friends like, dude, can I bum an Adderall? I'm like, no, because like I need it. Yeah. I remember going to my doctor because I was like, I think I might be done with ADHD because I don't like need, she was like, you still have it. If you want a prescription, I can give it to you. But like if you don't, that's fine. But no. Like you got it.
It's like you're over it. Like
yeah.
I was like, okay.
I'm only on like the 25 milligrams, so it's not like crazy, but I try and keep it in check as much as I can.
There you go.
Okay, our next question, before we get off topic again, which I'm cool with though. I'm cool if you want to keep juggling, whatever. Andrew Malatesta. Andrew Malatesta writes in or emails in and says, if the wind gets furloughed, who's gonna jangle my chimes?
Oh. That's
jangle my chimes.
Or is that like what are you doing with the wind, Andrew?
Is he talking wind chimes?
Wind chimes. Who's gonna dangle my chimes? Passersby?
Passersby. There's that video of the dog doing it. Have you seen that?
Just put like get one of those birds that like that you like
woodpecker bird.
Yeah, like
fake woodpecker.
Your chime. Yeah, it's like that. But it's like that plastic bird thing that does this.
It drinks out of the water thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
But it'll be your chimes, or just put a sign next to your chimes that says, "Please dangle my chimes."
I liked it. Oh, I like that he said jangled. Like that just sounds like a fun. Can you just jangle that?
Jangle? Like, can you jangle that?
Not jangle it. Jangle it. Jangling.
Straight up jangling.
I like that. I think Andrew, that might be the first time we've heard from Andrew. So welcome to PTG, bud. Thanks for chiming in, man. You ask people to do it. Ask others to do it for you, I guess.
Yeah, just people that walk by if your chimes are outside. I guess if they're in your backyard.
This is a community chime. Please jangle it.
Put a hummingbird feeder above it, and then they'll kind of brace
that meme. The smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Good thinking meme. Yeah, like just do that, and then like say, like, or if you really want people to do it, put it in like, your front yard. And, like every time you do this, an angel gets its wings, because like everybody's like, oh, look at all the angels I just gave wings to.
Yeah, exactly.
I found if you tell people on social media, if you share and or retweet things that an angel gets their wings, then people do it more. That's just science right there.
Yeah, that's exactly, because the problem that people don't realize is angels without wings is a actual huge problem.
They fall. They're just falling out of the sky, man.
They're falling out of the sky. You can't see them, so you don't know. But they.
And I've never died, but I took a tour of, I took a tour up there before when I was flatlining, and I was like, whoa, we got a serious wingless angel problem.
Like, yeah, this is insane.
You think our homeless dog problem is bad here? Wingless angels up there is, it's nuts. It's nuts.
They have to like trade wings with each other. Like my kids trade glasses when they don't have them. Like, take mine for a minute, but bring them back. I need them. Rental wings. All
you guys that have like, if you've contemplated suicide, just think you might not be one of those winged angels, and that's one hell of a purgatory to be stuck in.
Yeah.
Do you want to be an angel without wings, or you want to just be hanging out here with your buddies?
Yeah. But they can't see you or hear you. So.
Okay, so yeah, you just get other people to jangle your chimes, Andrew. And we got one last question from she is mysterious. She's never really told us like why she's the Squatch God, but it's Cassie J, the Squatch God, who emails us in. We don't know what that means. Like Squatch God sounds cool. Squatch. Like
Squatch God.
I would assume Sasquatch.
Sasquatch, but isn't squash like a sport?
It's like squash.
Squash. You're saying
squash, as well as
squashes. That's also squash. Squash.
A squash is a squash.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. I don't know. Like this has been a name that's eluded us. She won't give us any details.
Squatch God. I love it.
Cassie J, the Squatch God, and she's just mysterious. Every time she emails in, I'm like, we call him our podcast son, Skylar, and every time he sends us a question, we say we've raised him on the podcast, and so we're like, well, every time our podcast son does it, we show him a little nepotism. We answer his question first, but he didn't write in for this one, and so every time Cassie writes in one, we put her last because like we already had a first guy, so we're like, all right, you can go last, you can bookend it. So Cassie J says, the Hitler mustache. Who wore it better? And then she gives us 3 options. Was it Hitler? Was it Chuck Chaplin? Or was it Michael Jordan in that Hanes commercial?
Chuck Chaplin. I love it. That's so great. Oh, man.
Do you think he ever got called Chuck? Like, do you think it was like, hey, Chuck, come here?
Well, what do you think? What if it was like, is it okay if we called you Chuck? And he was like,
No.
He wouldn't answer out loud.
Oh, yeah.
So,
he just wiggles his mustache at you.
Yeah. I actually have his autobiography. I don't think I ever remember reading that people called him Chuck, but I read it a long time ago. But
maybe it was only his close friends.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, oh no. Michael Jordan, Charlie Chaplin, or actually Hitler?
Because it's like, I feel like it's called the Hitler mustache for a like who wore it better or who ruined it? Hitler ruined it.
Yeah, Hitler ruined it.
Except for Michael Jordan, who tried to bring it back at one point for some unknown reason. Where he's like, in this one commercial, I'm going to shave it down to a Hitler stash. It's fine. Don't worry. Bye.
Yeah. Like, he's like, I'm trying to take it back. And you're like, what do you even mean?
Nobody wants it, man.
Understand. Yeah, well, that's interesting too. Is like now I'm interested in like what's the reason that people have chosen to wear the mustache? Because they're just like, why does he get to? That guy sucks. Why does he get to own it?
Well, because he wore it, I believe. If I didn't just see this online and just believe the first thing I read, that it was for like he could put his gas mask on and it would get a proper seal. Because if you had the big bushy mustache, it might not allow the gas mask. Jesus. I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, but that's what I saw one time.
Wow. Can you imagine, what if Michael Jordan and Charlie Chaplin were like in their bathroom? Like,
Chuck Chaplin.
Chuck were shaving in their bathroom and their wives came in and they were down to this and they were like, I like that. And they're like, but honey, this is like.
You want some of this?
Yeah. And she was like, I like that. I like it. It's just that's good. It's
like
a good
a
look on you.
upper lip soul patch.
It's like I'm just saying exactly. It is the upper lip. That's how we should rename that. It's no longer the Hitler stash. You gotta.
I'll just shave to that. I'm like, no, it's an upper lip soul patch, guys.
So
You know,
it's a
new thing.
we call it an up patch.
the up patch. You guys get it? It's a very
The up
popular thing.
patch. You don't know about the up patch?
Everybody's got it. We just gotta get like one
Jordan-
guy on Real World to wear it, and they'll be like, "That's it."
You didn't see Jordan and Haynes commercial? Or what are you anti? I guess
Makes
you
me-
don't
makes
like the
me wonder.
Bulls. That's dumb.
Huh?
I like the up stash.
Because we got to rebrand it if it's coming back. Like you can't like. That's I think why nobody besides Michael Jordan, who like nobody can touch Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
he wasn't OJ. OJ murdered somebody allegedly. OJ murdered somebody. Like,
Yeah.
but
Do you think? Yeah. I wonder if he showed up for the Haynes. What if that was on his rider? He was like, and you have to let me wear the up stash.
he like really didn't want to come, so he's trying to put things on his rider that are gonna just get him kicked out. He's like, "No, bitch, I get a fucking Hitler stash," and he's like, "There's no way they're gonna go for that." They're like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
it's MJ. All right, whatever, dude."
Yeah, you can have it. I wonder if that's if there's like all the people who have worn it, but man, I'm gonna give my answer, and I want to say it's a knock. I'm obviously not voting for Hitler, even though. Well, then I feel bad because he it's his. Like,
I mean, it's called the Hitler mustache. We just called
Yeah.
it that. That was how
but
it's
just
worded.
because you had it, I don't think you were best. I think I'm gonna go Charlie Chaplin. I'm sorry, Chuck.
Was Chuck around before Hitler though? Like, did Chuck have it first and then Hitler took it? Because whoever had it first, then maybe Chuck wore it best.
Oh, he stole.
Chuck inspired somebody.
It's a stolen stash. Yeah, that's a good question. So, Charles now I want to know, like,
I'm also like, while you search Charles Chaplin, I'm gonna search Chuck Chaplin and see if anything comes up.
so Charlie Chaplin lived in like 1889 to 1977.
Hey, let me see. Adolf Hitler. 1889. When was Charlie Chaplin?
1888.
Oh,
Got under
that's
the
Chap.
under
That's
the-
Chuck's. That's Chuck's then.
It's Chuck's because he was born first.
'Cause he was born first. He came up with it then. And he wasn't fucking gassing Jews, dude. Like, he was being cool. He was doing dances and shit. He was
Yeah.
putting on shows. Like, he wore it better. He didn't look like a psycho to half the world.
Exactly.
So yeah, he definitely wore it better. MJ probably would have played basketball in it better, but I mean, I don't know.
So, here's an interesting thing that I just learned about it. So apparently, Charlie Chaplin wore it to satirize Hitler.
Then he definitely wore it better.
Yeah, it's in the Great Dictator, where he like satirized Hitler.
Nothing like satirizing the Holocaust, right?
As a result, he won 5 Academy Award nominations for that role. So I'm going with Charlie Chaplin.
Chuck.
I can make fun of you and win 5 Oscars. Yeah, my
Yeah.
vote's Charlie.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much hands down. It's got to go to Chuck
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
Good question.
Chuck, I'm sorry. Yeah, Chuck Chaplin. Great question.
I think that really made us think. And who would have thought
Yeah.
we would have learned so much about the Hitler mustache?
We
today?
did research. I mean, it was beautiful.
Was it just like being back in school? You
Yeah,
should
it
go
was.
teach your first class back. Like, just hey kids, we're gonna learn
Hey,
about the
guys.
Hitler mustache.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me. I want you to tell me about the Hitler stash.
Now, what do you know? What do you think you know? Because I'll tell you
Yeah,
what you should
exactly.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was our final answers question. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on again after this is all over. We gotta go. We'll get Pat. We'll hang out and we'll search for
Oh
Googles
yeah,
or whatever.
Pat and I pair great together on podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, just judging from you two, like on your own, like that would be one hell of a fucking podcast. That'd be one hell of a podcast. We'll try and do that. That'll be our next one we'll do.
Yeah.
Do
Thanks
you
for
have
having
any?
me.
Do you have any like dates that are like not put off yet?
I don't, but I was supposed to record my album right before this happened. It was supposed to happen on April 11th and it didn't. So if you do follow me on like Lady Apron, either on Twitter or on Instagram, when we get out of this and it does happen again, because it's still like gonna happen, you will be able to find out, like people can find out when that happens.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can also find out like when things do start going back to normal or normal-ish. We might do some stuff with Rudyards. I do a weekly podcast with the Poison Girl and Little Dipper people called Whiskey Wednesdays. So if you follow either of their Instagrams, we do it on Instagram Live, so you can see stuff there too.
Okay. Well, and then I definitely would come out if you record the album. I want to come out and check that out. So thanks again. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm glad that I hate that we're all quarantined, but this was at least one positive that came out of it. So
that's great. That's really cool. Yeah, that's great.
All right, so pass the gravy, ya bitches.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it?